I'm starting. Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody, and welcome, because we are live on this Saturday. It is September 12th, 2020, and you have arrived in time for the 763rd episode of the long-running and long-playing, as it were, radio show, podcast, talk show, videocast, Dave's Gone By. Uh-oh, there's something wrong with my robe. Yes, as you can see, I'm going to do the great unveiling of myself in a moment. Ooh, this is my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, who's helping me. Oh, and she's making it like a emperor. What do they call it? A pashmina thing?
No, it's like a toga, like an emperor, you know.
A toga.
And you have your crown on backward.
Oh, how can you tell?
That's
oh, yeah, because it should sort of go like this, shouldn't it? Okay, let's start that again. There goes the day. Welcome to the 763rd episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream. I forgot to bring this. Thank you ever so much. Now, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, is helping with the show, although she's not really going to be much part of it as she usually is, because she's got a bit under the weather, not COVID, insofar as I can tell, just not, feeling really up to doing what she usually does. But what I usually do is about 3 hours of ridiculousness. What was that? Oh, is it my ring? She kind of has she has her grain, I've got my grain, and together, and we're a multi-grain family. Thank you. So I'm Dave Lefkowitz, and I've been doing this show since October of 2002. So we really have had 760-something episodes since then. If we hadn't taken weeks off here and there for vacation or holiday, or a couple of times we were off for a month in between stations and stuff, we'd probably be over 800, but I think 763 is pretty good. And this is an incredibly major, important, and sort of sad day, I have to say, because this would have been Potato Day in Greeley, Colorado. Because Joyce and I, as everybody who watches this program knows, Joyce and I were living in Greeley for about 9.5 years. And one of the things that we enjoyed doing was going to, I can never remember, what is the park? What was the place? Centennial Village. And they would mock it up like 150 years ago with butter churners and axe throwers and horse riders and, tomahawk makers and tortilla planners. And you just walk through it like the village was supposedly 150 years ago. And they would do this once a year. It was a way to raise money for the museums of the town and bring everybody together. And if you paid your fee, you got in there, you got a free baked potato. So, and it was cool when we first got there. It was like $4 to get in. And by the time we left Greeley, Colorado, it was $7, which is kind of highway robbery for a potato, but still good cause. And they do it every year. And it's usually the first.
I think it went up with a queen guy,
Well, yeah. They used to have a potato queen who was like this 90-year-old woman, God bless her, because she was from the family that was one of the potato crop families still working and doing their thing in Colorado. So she would provide thousands of potatoes for this event, which was really great of her, but she's no longer. She's underground along with his buddies.
She called Tuber joined, Rick Tuber.
No! Yes! And now it is September and not October, but still. So Potato Day became a very, very important thing for me and for my potato friends every year in Colorado. And I missed one. I've talked about this. I wasn't feeling well, and it was a drizzly rain, and I skipped it. And then I told many times about this, that they planned one when the Jewish holidays came kind of early, and they had Potato Day on Yom Kippur, which is the one day, even the most non-observant, even the Jews who are essentially Presbyterians, they will not do much on Yom Kippur. That's the one day when we reconnect on some pointless, ridiculous level to religious spirituality, or at least to our ancestors who were doing the same thing. Sorry about my crown here. I should go to the dentist because I've got a loose crown. I know. So, but they were going to do this. And I wrote a complaint letter to them, and I said, there's not that many Jewish people in Greeley, but there are a few, and those of us who are there love and celebrate Potato Day. It's a kosher food, right? We can eat we can eat it. It was what we'd be eating in, like, the only thing we were allowed to eat in Auschwitz, because they took all the other food, but we lived on a certain amount of calories per day on potatoes and potato peel soup. Is a hugely important food for my people. Well, what are you calling food? I'm sorry. And also the great love and friendship that we have for our Spud friends. That's better. So I wrote to them, and God, the museum didn't respond, but God responded, because he made it pour on that potato, and they got canceled. The weather was so bad. It was either like a hurricane coming or a terrible rainstorm. And that year, Potato Day was canceled. Very sad year, but I somehow felt good about that. However, this year, today, September 12th, 2020, day after 9/11 day, today was supposed to be a day of joy, a day of feelings and peelings, if you will. A day to march for the starch. Well, they canceled this Potato Day too, a couple of weeks ago. It was owing, of course, to the coronavirus pandemic, to the idea of, even in a big, giant open park, this idea of all these people kind of wandering around, some being very careful with masks, and others, I'm sure, just not paying attention, and then having to go and have a food line, which is essentially a buffet, because you hold open the potato and then they spoon in the salsa or the cheese or the butter or the other condiments that they were offering. I don't wear condiments. I don't have a girl. Oh, I'm very sorry, Potato. We'll talk about that later. But they, in great wisdom, they decided not this year. So today was supposed to, right now, or actually it's 9 o'clock New York time. It was starting about 9 or 10 Colorado time. So in an hour or two would have been this all-day festival, Potato Day, in Centennial Village in Greeley, Colorado. And instead, it is not. And but it doesn't mean that we can't pay tribute, that we cannot pay homage to our friends in the Potato Kingdom. For me to wear the ceremonial potato robe and the crown that is not remotely potato related, but still feels like, this is sort of like a promised margarine crown. So if you figure the potato goes with it, it sort of fits, right? Kind of. And now the big reveal, and I've worn this shirt before quite proudly, although it does send mixed messages to our potato friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to, this is supposed to be a much more enticing reveal here. I'll do it this way. Welcome to, drum roll. Is there a drum roll? Yes. The 763rd episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the Stream, with me, Dave Lefkowitz, on this would have been, could have been, should have been Potato Day. And I've also told all you guys this, which is the most amazing thing, and literally is the story of my life. Look at my hair now. That I have been the completely unofficial mascot for this year's Potato Day. They took a photo of me from 2 years ago, wandering around Centennial Village, covered with potatoes. Thank goodness it was on Potato Day, or else I would call the police, but it was on that day. And there's this picture of me smiling, holding up 2 baked potatoes and essentially offering them to the camera. And this is the photo that you will see if you go to the .org or .com or .gov page. It's a weird thing. It's a government page, but it's a .com. Yeah. Joyce says on her phone, I think I've shown it to you. You've seen it, and it's even posted on our Facebook page if you just scroll down after you watch the show. But there's me. And at first I was the unofficial ambassador. It's like, come to Potato Day. Come enjoy all the things that we've got going on, all the fun 150-year-old stuff we have to offer in the book sale, and baked goods and stuff. Baby animal, that's right, the baby ducks, and they had a petting zoo with stinky sheep and goats, right? And it was just wonderful. And my face, it was like, come see this idiot who will be there holding potatoes and waiting for you, and covered with these guys. And when I used to go in years past, I would wear a bunch of the stuffed potatoes that we have, and children, little sweet children would come up to me, and then they'd point and say, oh, me want, and the parent would go, is that for sale? And I'd be like, no, what the hell, these are mine. What's wrong with you? Because any natural, normal human being would assume that a man walking up and down during a festival covered in toy potatoes would likely, possibly, be selling them, unless that man was me, in which case I was just there to soak in, if you will, the tuberificness of Potato Day. But as I said, there's no Potato Day in Greeley today. I represent now the cancellation of the day because my face is still there. And
the first one says go, and then the second one says due to COVID, we're canceling this event.
Due to COVID,
they're holding the two potatoes out.
So the message underneath the same photograph is, owing to COVID-19, the Potato Day event at Centennial Village has been canceled for September 12th. You know, same picture though. It's like, here, you can't partake in this. I represent cancellation and sadness. Oh well. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep sadness at bay for 3 hours on this Saturday, September 12th, 2020, because Dave's gone by. And what a show we have for you today, by the way. I'm just clearing my throat, figuratively and literally. I'm just yakking. I'm just getting the phlegm out when I begin the show. And speaking of phlegm, rabbis, there's a segue for you. Speaking of phlegm, Rabbi Sal Solomon will be with us today, not just to celebrate Potato Day, but actually it's sort of a happy, sad event. We have a guest in the Daverhood this week. It's sort of a last-minute guest, and we're very grateful. He's going to be joining us quite a bit later in the program. He is a really talented sportscaster with a terrific sportscaster voice.
The pre-cancellation.
By the way, this is what I look like. This is what the Greeley Museum's page looked like pre-cancellation for Potato Day in Centennial. But there I am. That really is me. That image. And understand, I was an adjunct professor at the local university. Oh, I didn't know you were doing that. Yeah. Hold. Ladies and gentlemen, let's tell you, by the way, when we tell you who's watching the show. So who's watching the show? Scott. Jennifer.
Mr. Tuber.
Rick Tuber. Brett. Christine. Jan. Christopher. David and David. Well, that's a wonderful name. And welcome to all of you. If we didn't mention your names, please don't be offended. We don't see everybody who logs on and signs in. We just kind of try and check as many people as we can. But it's really great. All of you are tuning in and watching Dave's Gone By in the Daverhood. So here's the deal. What was I? Oh, so that's me. That was my. Oh no, I'm not gonna hold that. But that's that picture. That is the official museum's page, and this is the guy. This was the face of Potato Day 2012, and it is now the face of No Potato Day 2012. But we have our potato, or I should say our little baby potato, Papito. We have this potato. We're keeping calm and eating latkes, and we're watching this program. What was?
Do you remember when the girl in the book bookstore said her father worked for the Idaho Potato campaign, and she gave you one.
This is one of the great days of my life.
Yes.
I've got to repeat everything.
Maria finding the
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I've got a couple of more potato stories before we start the show proper. There was a sad day, almost as sad as losing Potato Day this year, was when I lost a potato in the lunchroom at the university where I was teaching, and because I had it on the tray and I'd like to eat with a potato around it. Whatever food I'm eating, it becomes comfort food if there's a stuffed potato near me. And so I bring this potato to the lunchroom, and I was in a rush and I had an afternoon class to teach and got distracted and somehow lost the potato, tumbled off my tray, perhaps. Once scoping out for the giant ketchup fountain elsewhere in the building. And wouldn't you know, we got a call from the people at the lunch thing, the cafeteria. No,
I went back another time, and Maria was lovely. She said, "I think this is your husband's potato."
I gotta repeat what because they're not gonna hear. But Maria, who was working at the cafeteria in the front, she was saying what?
She was a work study.
She work study student. Well, bless her heart, she saw my wife, who is somehow connected to me, and said, your husband, he's the potato guy, right? And my wife very reluctantly had to say, yeah. Mm-hmm. And she said, we think we found one of your things. We thought it was from maybe like the nutrition department.
We thought it was a display.
A display, or some student lost it, but is this your husband's?
Because you made such a fuss saying.
Of course I make a fuss.
Yeah.
I looked all over for it. I was so sad.
Juliet said, she said, just replace it. Can't you just replace it? She said, he'll know, right? I said, yeah.
Of course I'll know.
No.
Of course I'll know if I lose one of the 400 of these that I have. But they found it. And what was the other story? There was another one you just mentioned.
The girl in the bookstore we went to.
Yes!
Her dad worked on the Idaho campaign.
Very beautiful thing. I was coming in to put aside books for the English class I was going to teach. And I think I saw that she had like a little Idaho potato Spuddy Buddy, which are different from these, but are in some ways, they're not Colorado authentic, they're Idaho authentic. And I said, oh my God, where did you get that? And do I have to murder you to take it from you? And she said, oh, no, my dad works for the Idaho Potato Commission. And she must have seen my eyes go like, yeah. And I said, okay, I will sell everything. I'm terribly needle phobic, but I'll give tons of blood. What do I have to do to get something from the Idaho Potato? And she brought in, the next time I came to the bookstore, like a Spuddy Buddy potato for me, and like a sticker, and some other incredible memorabilia. And it was a tremendously moving experience. I mean, I've had relatives die and give birth, and I've done shows and had ovations and not such great ovations. I mean, but I've never in my life, in that moment when she just handed over a beautiful little potato and some other kitschy, beautiful crap, and said, here, enjoy. And of course, what, just one? He works for the commission. Can I have like 10? And then we had to get out of there real quick. But I'm Dave. What was I saying? Oh, let me tell you. I will tell you. As I said, Rabbi Sal's coming on the show, and I will tell you why soon as we play our theme music.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood. And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
Yeah, David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's gone by, and Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Dave's gone by Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream with your host, Dave Lefkowitz, telling you what's going to be on the show. So I was mentioning also, I keep talking about this school, this university, where my wife was teaching, or is, and I've been teaching or was teaching before I moved back to New York. So, you know, so yeah, this university has had its issues, but one of the cool things that they have is that it was kind of nice. It's a city. Greeley, Colorado is a small city, but it has at times a small town feel. So the university is a mixture of Friday Night Lights, if you will, except not a wonderful sports school generally. They've got a few. Then the women's basketball team has been pretty good in past years, and like they've had some success with volleyball and tennis and some other sports. But the quote unquote major sports, iffy. Men's basketball had some success almost a decade ago now. Football team not. Football team has been pretty disastrous for a decade or more now. But here's the deal. It was kind of nice. You would hear, because we lived about a quarter mile away from the stadium. And so on a Saturday, you would hear the crowd roar in the rare times that the team scored a touchdown. and you sometimes say, this is horrible. They fire off a friggin' cannon. They stopped doing that. When we moved there, it was the most horrifying thing. You kept waiting, because if someone scored a touchdown, you suddenly hear like, boom! And the whole town would rattle. And I'm like, this is not a wonderful idea. That was the only good thing. Our football team sucked so bad that if you heard a cannon twice in a game, that was major. That was epic.
It was actually a car backfiring on a highway.
Which had usually more success than our team. But that's the thing. All of it was still, even with a losing team, sometimes you tune in to hear how they lose. So you put on the local radio station, KFKA, and longtime listeners to this program will know that we had KFKA. We have a friend of the Daverhood, Gil Moon, who's been doing shows on that station for probably 2 decades now, including one show called Senior Circle, like he does on Sunday mornings, all about the older population in Greeley and the services afforded to them. But his favorite thing, the thing that he loves to do, is Sunday nights he does old time radio, and he'll play everything from Fred Allen to Fibber McGee and Molly to the Bickersons or whoever, and from melodramas to The Shadow to Abbott and Costello. It just the whole night from midnight until 6 a.m. I think it's all public domain or nobody asks. Yeah, like all the Abbott and Costellos and it's cool stuff. I mean, I'm asleep. I'm not listening, but people do. People love. It's great that that's still on the air. It's great that those are preserved. And every once in a while,
Terrestrial radio.
well, I want to listen to old time radio and terrestrial radio, and I think, how lame, how okay, it was good for its time was the radio of 1940 or 1950s back then, before television killed everything. How mad was it? And then I'll go listen to something, and it turns out to be really, really good. Really, really good. The old Jack Benny show is pretty neat. So, and he plays that sort of thing. Gil Moon does on KFKA on Sunday nights. So I tried to get on the station. Somehow they didn't find room for this show. There wasn't really room for me, because I will say that most of the rest of that station is right-wing talk, Laura Ingraham and Brian Kilmeade, all the Fox people, when they're not blathering away on Fox TV, they are syndicated on all these channels all across the dial. You can't avoid them. And you can't avoid them if you go on KFKA, unless you go on the weekend and you hear Farm Report. Ooh. So, but one of the saving graces of the station, and the only reason I would ever put it on, was when they had a Bears game from the university. They would cover the Bears game, and it was our local team. There was a bit of local pride, and they had a really good sportscaster with a really fine voice. Every time you heard him, and you heard him call games, because it wasn't just the quality of the voice, it was the quality of his announcing and his sportscasting. You wonder, why is he in like this Division I podunk failure of a school sports system. This guy should be at, I don't know, what Auburn or something. I know nothing else about Auburn except when people talk about college football, they mean Auburn. I used to think Harvard and Yale was a big deal, and then it turns out their schools suck too, but it's the Harvard-Yale game. And those Michigan universities and the Southern Illinois and Louisiana has one. He should be there. Well, the guy I'm talking about, by the way, his name is Troy Coverdale, not Coverdale, as I always used to, but Troy Coverdale, talented fella, and apparently has been the sports announcer for men's football and men's basketball at University of Northern Colorado Bears for 18 years, which is, that's a pretty good feat of staying on the station for that long in a job, because he's also the sports director and the news director for KFKA out there in Northern Colorado, except as of this week, because ladies and gentlemen, these are pandemical times. And after all those years of good service, the radio station, I don't know, in conjunction with the school or if he's just a radio station hire, but they said, sorry, bro, we can't afford you anymore. And they laid him off after all this time, after really being one of the great jewels of the station. He's just like, we'd love to keep you, but we just don't have it in the budget now. We've been hemorrhaging money because, although I don't understand, of all places, a radio station should be making okay money during a pandemic. When everybody's home and they got nothing else to do. I mean, now people are coming out of their houses more and more, but certainly from about March until July, man, what else are they to do, right? Because as I say, he's not just a sports guy, he was the news director. So they're going to listen on their computers, they're going to listen on their iDevices, as well as maybe putting on the old-fashioned radio every once in a while. You would figure this would be a better time for radio stations to make some money than would be in normal times when they're fighting, people going to the theater or people going out to restaurants, or people's time, right? Which is what a radio is trying to corral. They want your ears, they want your listening for a certain amount of time. You figure this would be a good time for stations, but who the hell knows? Feel free, if you want to type in on our Facebook page here and disabuse me of that notion and explain why not. Maybe Rabbi Sal Solomon will ask Troy Coverdale.
Andrew was on, so you could talk about it.
Oh, Andrew he was from GBB. Wow, welcome Andrew, by the way.
There's a bunch of folks I can't see. I'll tell you.
Yeah, check them out. Who we got listening?
I lost a bunch of them in the middle, but in this last, we have Bruce, David, and Rebecca.
Bruce, David, and Rebecca.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Bruce, David, and Rebecca. And to, of course, Potato, who is all lit up for what would have been Potato Day in Greeley. So it's a bleh time in Greeley, Colorado right now, isn't it? They canceled Potato Day. We'll say laid off, because I know he wasn't fired. I'm sure he wasn't fired for bad cause. It's not like he made a fire in the middle of the radio station's lobby and just started throwing old equipment into it. I mean, it just is a money thing. But they have let go of Troy Coverdale. And I would say if there's people in radio or media who are listening to this program, Troy Coverdale, he's not, working there anymore. Hire me. But after you hire me, I'm going to bring him into the sports, for gosh sakes. And we're also going to bring him into the Daverhood a bit later to talk to the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Sal Solomon. So we'll hear what it meant to be a sports announcer for all these years, what it's like doing that for a radio station, what you have to do kind of when you're covering a team that loses and loses and loses year after year. It's like asking Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner. So what were the Mets like during the Felix Meon years? How about that Dave Kingman striking out every other time he was at bat? This is the way ball players are playing now, actually. But that's coming up. Troy Coverdale on Dave's Gone By. And speaking of people populating the Daverhood later in the show, we will have the rematch again. I guess it's a rematch of my friend, theater critic Leslie Hoban Blake against my cousins, Jeffrey Kirsch and Cynthia Shub Kirsch. And I do believe we will have the return of Stacey Shub and her partner, Shyaporn Theerakulstit. We call him Shy for obvious reasons, playing against each other in our Today, Yesterday trivia quiz for things that happen on this date in history. So that is happening today, all of it, on this episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebook Podcast program of the stream. But wait, there's more. We're going to go inside Broadway for Broadway news, both good and bad. So around these times, of course, there hasn't been a lot of Broadway news of like, this is going to be opening and this is happening. No, Broadway's not happening for many more months. But there's people that we lose, and occasionally there's glimmers of light. We're going to give you both in our Inside Broadway segment on this episode, and we will have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we will be going to Pierce, Colorado for our column. So it's a short poem, a 5-line poem with a risque theme, as limericks tend to have, and it will be about Pierce, Colorado. We'll be hearing that later in the program too. So all of that going on, and we'll get also to Greeley crimes and old times, since we're talking about Greeley, Colorado too. What else do I want to talk about before that happens? I usually banter back and forth with my wife, but some stuff I still want to talk with you guys about. This is, let's see, I had an interesting, someone explained the inexplicable to me. There are things that even science can't really explain yet. Time warps and black holes, and I think was talking last week about why can we put men on the moon, but we can't put out a forest fire immediately when just sending water or something down or up. Or why is it we let thousands and thousands of acres burn still and destroy half of Oregon and California, while at the same time we can get somebody so high up, land them on another planet with a whole different atmosphere, and bring them back safely. We've done it. We did it 50 years ago, and yet this idea of, gee, there's flames over there. How we put them out? Okay, so there's things that are still inexplicable to me. And I found another one just yesterday. So yesterday morning.
It's called Velcro.
Trish is saying Velcro. Oh, God bless the man who invented Velcro. I will never wear any other kinds of shoes again, ever. But I'm in the kitchen making breakfast. And it's early in the morning because my day job starts very early. I've got to get there before 8 o'clock, right? So I'm half asleep. I gotta go out and milk the elk before that is, and goose the chickens and chicken the goose. And so I'm just in the kitchen puttering around. They're gonna make this and do this and run water and then I'm like, just trying to get into my own head. And I hear faintly, beep beep. Beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what the hell? Beep, 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 beep. And I'm thinking, well, a little early for the garbage men to come. So, it sounds like one of those trucks backing up all the way down the road. But I look out the window and ain't nothing, nobody there, nobody backing up, no big diesel engines going backwards. And then I'm in the dining room, I don't hear it. I go in the den, I don't hear it. I go back into the kitchen. I don't really, and then the moment I start concentrating, even with my half-deaf ear, right? I'm beep, 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 beep. And now I'm thinking, son of a gun, it's going to be a smoke detector, either carbon monoxide or the fire thing. So I'm looking up around the kitchen, and I don't even know where the hell the smoke detector is, which is a problem. But I'm looking, I'm saying, no. And usually we know when smoke detectors start to go, they don't go beep, 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 beep. They go beep, beep, beep. They will not let you rest until you say, fix my battery, beep, beep. And it's like, okay, God damn you, right? And the new battery never fits. You ever notice that? They make these smoke detectors to the point where you put in the 9 volt, and it's like, it's supposed to go in, it's supposed to stay, and you have to buy a new smoke detector because there's no way the battery actually fits into it properly, right? Well, anywho. So I'm hearing it, and it's not a smoke detector. And I'm thinking, well, what the hell could it be? Because I can't, it's just, well, not a car backing up, and I'm thinking, this is just loud enough to be annoying, right? While I'm down here making breakfast, and whoever else comes down, beep, 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 beep.
Maybe it was Mars trying to contact with Uranus.
Joyce is saying Mars might have been trying to contact Uranus. and consider there was one day this week, I don't want to get too off track, but there was one day I must have been so constipated because I became a lumber factory that whole next day. I was just like in and leaving. They could have started a whole new construction on what came out of me. But be that as it may, no, it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't some other planet making interstellar contact. But what the hell was it? And now my mom comes down and she's like, hey, I'm like, do you hear that? And she is, much more deaf than I am. She's got hearing problems in both ears. I just haven't one. So she said, no, I don't hear anything. I'm like, great, okay. So is it in my head? And then I go to the den, don't hear it. Don't go to the living room, don't hear it. And then she stands there for a moment, oh, I hear it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, remember your dad's watches used to do that, like every day at 3 o'clock, so.
We were looking for the telephones, the cell phones. Maybe that was an issue there. Maybe someone was calling.
That happened to my pager when I used to work with HIV.
Yeah, Joyce is saying when she used to work with HIV, it would hit her pager, yeah.
And then my dad didn't know when I stayed with my parents one time and my battery was low, it kept going off. It was the pager.
Yeah, Joyce's battery would go off and it was her pager. So, but we don't have pagers. We've got these phones, nothing on the phone. And then I'm thinking, all right, maybe it's just one of these electronic, nothing, the TV, not the cable box. And now I look at the microwave and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's the microwave. So I look at it, is anything beeping in there? Is a timer on it? No. I unplug it, which of course freaks my mom out because, she blames Joyce and me for ruining and breaking everything in the house. We've been living here for many months now. And so anytime there's an issue with the printer, it's our fault. And anytime there's anything breaks sometimes it is my fault. I broke a jar of tomato sauce 2 weeks ago. But then, it doesn't matter that we end up fixing as many things or more things than we break. It's still like, don't touch it. It's working. Don't breathe near it. This printer that we have, I never use it. I don't want to actually use it because if I use it, I'll break it. So just leave it. It's working. We think it's working, but don't touch it and check that it's working because then it won't work. It's that kind of scared Jewish mindset. You leave it exactly as they worked in 1978, just in case we need them. So, but I unplugged because it's driving me crazy. I was like, where's this coming from? And it's sort of near. I'm hearing it near the microwave, but I unplug the microwave and the noise is gone. And my mom is like, you broke the microwave. And I'm like, break the fucking microwave. I plugged it back in. I just have to reset the clock, right? Which I did. I reset the clock. Microwave's fine.
David, you have magic still.
Joyce says I have magic.
You're a magicist.
Joyce says I'm a magicist. I take a microwave that is somehow dead and I bring it back to life.
How did you do it?
It's these.
You've got the good genes.
It's a special, no, if I had that kind of magic touch, I'd be fixing cars for 20 years and I'd be retired now.
You'd be betting on the lottery when you win it.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, beep, 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 beep.
Somebody wants to do a reenactment. Hold on.
Oh. Is Potato going to get involved in this? Or, oh God, this thing. Of all the things that we packed,
me to bring it.
I didn't want you to bring this. I went Bumbo. For some reason, we brought this thing that we found in like a thrift store
The tag's
for
still on it.
$1. Is it really?
Yeah.
How much was it? It was $2 in a thrift store.
Probably was half off.
This horrible.
What is it on the back? It says.
It's an official cookie from cookies.com. It's Vicky. Her name's Vicky.
Oh, it's a nice name.
Yeah. Of all the things, the potatoes I definitely wanted to keep. We used to have a giant plastic clown head that I found at a garage sale.
Sure, it had sharp metal.
Yeah, it had sharp metal and
She
plastic.
photographs beautifully.
It was this smiling clown thing, but this is the one thing I would have left in Colorado, and yet we have it now, which means we have to keep it forever, which is sort of sad. But this wasn't beeping. I just found this in a box downstairs. This is no, it wasn't this horrible thing. And we're like, what the hell? So, and I'm opening like the spoon and fork drawer, thinking, huh. Did somebody plant a bomb in our house to go off this morning? I'm thinking, beep, 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 and I open, and you know how men look for things? We ruffle a couple of items at the top of a drawer, and then we call our wives and we say, "Hon, where I left the thing?" And then she goes into the same drawer and actually does a decent job of looking for something. So Mom did that. She opened the same drawer where we keep like saran wrap and tin foil and oven gloves and things. And now it's louder. It's like beep, 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 beep. And wouldn't you know, to her eternal credit, my mom figures out the issue. And this, my friends, this is what I do not understand about the universe. This is something that needs an explanation. The culprit of the beeping was this: a kitchen timer, which I might call an egg timer. And I'm okay, she found it, brava. The timer essentially telling us, hey, please replace my battery. I'm not a smoke alarm. I'm not a carbon monoxide detector. So I'm not gonna go, beep, beep. Yeah.
But it could make your eggs overcooked.
But it could ruin a soft-boiled egg.
Yeah.
Very, very seriously. So this is telling us, hey, you know, the battery in me is low. It's problematic. Please replace the battery. What I really, really do not understand, and what has bothered me and kept me from sleep most of last night, is it's a kitchen timer.
Yeah.
It's an egg timer.
Yeah.
Why does this require any kind of battery? Why? Can you explain to me? For years, I grew up with timers. What do? You turn the dial, and then it goes like the 60 Minutes thing. Nobody's putting a battery in the 60 Minutes watch. In 60 years that show's been on the air. And it just goes, you know, and you crank, it's like on a spring. And then the spring, and slowly turns. It's a fascinating item. It's a brilliant item. And then at a certain point, without any kind of electric help at all, it goes, well, it's time to turn the steaks over. And yet this sunbeam thing has a compartment for a battery. Why? Who invents this? Was Sunbeam owned by Rayovac? I don't know. I don't need Eveready involved in my cooking decisions. So I'm going to put this battery back in. Let's see if it. Oh, now it won't do it. Now it's quiet. Oh, and that battery's working too. Look at it. Because we really need this to be flashing like that. See, one thing we do need a battery for is my Zen toothbrush. This, as if you've watched the show the past few weeks, you know that when I get all head up about nonsense like this, why do we need this? Why is it? Look at that. It's like first alert smoke alarm when you're just making eggs. Why? And so Joyce knows that to calm myself down, I need that moment of Zen in my toothbrush that does use a battery, where you just put it on and you hold it very hard on the gum and you go, especially towards the back of the mouth. And it makes your face rattle. And it takes every terrible thought you have in your head And it just kind of, this is the dental equivalent of Valium. It really, well, this is Meloril in a brush. And do it on the other side too. You have to get just the right spot where your jaw vibrates. And while that is happening, you don't have to do meditation. You don't have to do yoga. You just hold that on your mouth for like a minute or two. And you come out of it, it's the same experience. It's like having an orgasm of bristles, essentially. Try it. Try it. Don't get one of these weensy little child electric toothbrushes for $3-4. Spend the $8. Get something like this, which is almost perfect, except it's a real pain in the ass. This gets real stuck when I try and use it in the morning. It's annoying. So it makes me say, you figure you're tired, you're just getting up, you want to brush your teeth, you're pouring the thing, you don't want to make a mess, and now suddenly, all you want is your toothbrush to go on, and you can't get this stupid handle on it. It's like, You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, the king of my dominion here on this Saturday. Listen, there it is. That's the stupid thing about this thing. It's not battery dead. This thing got moved. So it was timing something. And this is,
that's the alert.
that is the alert that, alert that your food is ready. In which case, this machine, this device is even more friggin' stupid because A, it just went off. And B, if you're in the other room listening for the kitchen timer,
So David, that's why we bought your mom 2 new ones. So the reason this was in the drawers because she couldn't hear it. So we bought her 2 new timers so she could take one with her. She couldn't hear it.
Yeah, if you're in the den watching TV, especially if you're an older person, so of course you're going to be watching TV at a volume that they're going to hear in New Jersey. So, and you're sitting there, you're watching, it might be the air conditioner. Yeah, you're going to hear this? And be like, you might, after commercials over and before the program starts, you might hear a little bit like the most idiotic timer in the history of the universe. Shut up! There we go.
Let me know when you want the names, David. I wrote them down.
Oh, please, yes. Who's watching this show? Who isn't wandering around Centennial Village in a canceled potato day? Those people include, thank you so much, Peter and Larry and Adam and Ralph and Carl, and there are like 4 or 5 Davids. So welcome to all of you. And is it Mark? Mark and George and Iris. Hey, Iris and Joe and Erica and Irina. Ooh, hello. If it's a female name, can you get the phone numbers?
Okay.
And their dimensions.
I
That would
won't
be
do that.
really helpful. No?
Oh, no, you showed this pig. Oh, just say also Kevin, then I can cross out that.
Hello, Kevin. Welcome to everyone who's tuning in to watch Dave's Gone By with me, Dave, on this Saturday morning with Troy Coverdale. Coming up talking to Rabbi Saul Solomon, also our Today Yesterday quiz, also our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, also Inside Broadway and Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Well, so that was my moment of like, yesterday. Couldn't. Then there was a fun moment at work. That was kind of cool. That happened a couple of days ago, where it's a cluster. We're all working as hard as we can. We're all just completely frazzled and trying to help each other out because we work in a school district. I'm not the university I was talking about in Colorado. Here I'm in a lower level little kid school district. Thank God, not dealing with the little monsters. And we're just over doing technical stuff and helping out there. And but it's still in an unprecedented school year when some of the kids are home, some of the kids are not. Some of the teachers are home, some of the teachers are not. Some kids are home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's madness, right? But it's madness as prescribed by the governor and by local politicians. We can't have school just remote. Oh no, we can't be that safe. Let's take a chance. We're going to keep school going. So fine. So we're trying to deal with the technical issues of teachers who are teaching remotely to students who are in their houses or something. I mean, it is very, very difficult and messy. So one of the things is that teachers, now that they're teaching completely on Zoom, they need media, right? Because you're not like me. I can talk for 3.5 hours, no problem. But to teach a subject to kids or several subjects in a day, blah, 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 with a smartboard or a blackboard or a whiteboard, you need some variation. You need the help. And even back in the day, it was the best thing in class when the teacher would whip out the 16mm projector and you knew that you still had to pay attention, but you didn't have to pay that close attention for the next half hour because some crappy little, here's how you die in a car crash film would start. And so these teachers all want to be able to show videos to their kids. Fine. And these kids are all at home on devices provided by the school. Also fine. Problem is, devices provided by the school we cannot allow those kids to access certain websites. Your 9-year-old should not be on Pornhub. So we've got to block that. But we're also blocking things like YouTube, because YouTube, even though it doesn't have any kind of pornography, certainly language, there's content on YouTube that, third graders should not be seeing or have access to, and all sorts of New York State problems if kids have access on these devices that we provide them. So it's like, okay, can't do that. Gotta get these kids the videos in some other way. So YouTube understands this, and they even have something called Safe YouTube, which is where it's specifically designed so that it's watchable. There's any kid under 11 years old, no problem, no content's going to get through. That's fine, fantastic. Except it's magnificent. Safe YouTube is still connected to regular YouTube, and therefore our firewall has to block both of them. And now the teachers are freaking out because we want to show these videos and there's no way the kids can see them. So of course it falls to old Dave, who had the idea that, well, all right, no big deal. If the teachers go find the video that they need on YouTube to teach this lesson in math or geology or geometry or English or grammar, or whatever it is, they find it, they can send me where the link is. We'll keep the video ourselves. We'll download the video and then give the teachers access to it just through the school portal. So no firewalls there, everything will be fantastic, right? So it fell to me to start downloading all these videos and then putting them in an accessible file for everybody who would need them. But the fun part is, because there's always going to be a slip betwixt the cup and the brim. Joyce warned me of this. She said anything in the world that seems like it should be incredibly simple and straightforward, when you put it in an office situation with several people, when you put it in a bureaucracy, or whether it's political or whether it's just office or school or any.
Everybody wants to raid the barn. Nobody wants to plant the corn.
No, we want to plant the corn. And Joyce is quoting this lyric from an old reggae song that they used to play on Earl the Rootsman Chin's show years ago. And it was like, everybody wants to raid the barn, but nobody wants to plant the corn. Essentially meaning, we all want the spoils without having to work hard to get them. But we're working like crazy. We're willing to plant the corn. We're willing to husk the friggin' corn. But the corn's got to grow. And when the corn doesn't grow and you're doing all that work, it's like, So, but no, we did, right? Dave came up with a really good solution. We keep the videos, we download them, we upload them. There's a program that we can use. Simple, right? But the teacher kind of has to send us the correct URL for the video that
And these are people that get paid 3 digits, 6 digits.
Yes, a lot of these people do make it over. It's a Long Island school district. Yeah, they're making between $90,000 and $130,000 a year. No, they deserve it. It's a living wage in Long Island. I deserve it too. That's the problem. I don't begrudge them.
Let's go back to Labor Day and May Day.
Well, we had Labor Day. Didn't do much. So the thing is, most of these URLs that the teachers are sending in are perfectly correct. So they're doing a lesson on Jack on the Beanstalk, we're talking about first graders and second graders, kindergartners. So there's now, they're going to read aloud Jack and the Beanstalk. There's a video on YouTube. And so they send the video and there it is, Jack and the Beanstalk. But then a couple of these teachers, I'm clicking on their safe YouTube link, trying to find it on regular, and it's sort of like the safe YouTube link is supposed to be basic addition, 1 + 1, 2 + 2. And suddenly it's coming up with like story time about Maya and her Mexican cousins. I'm like, what? And this happens a few times. And my boss is like, oh, Dave, this is what the teachers want. These are the URLs they gave you. Maybe they're teaching a lesson plan and then they're taking a break and showing a video of a story or something like that. Okay, makes total sense. Until I got to one clip where it was supposed to be little Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The teacher wanted a read aloud of a simple children's book of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, sent me the YouTube URL, the safe YouTube URL. I click on it and I try again. I click on it a couple of times. And remember, this is for first graders. And there's a college professor standing at a blackboard writing out sentences in Latin.
David, is that the advanced class?
I'm like,
The advanced class.
some of the kids in Valley Stream School District are smart. No first grader
You never know.
needs a 20-minute video of a Latin lesson.
I was raised that way. Look how I turned out.
Oh, I know. I would enjoy it. When I was a kid.
We were forced. Latin was the language,
Oh, because you were in
Yes.
Catholic school. But even that, if it were even beginning.
And Jesuits love Latin, and they love little children.
And they love, Jesuits love the little children a little too much, if you know what I'm saying. But okay, no, Latin's great for learning English, right? Latin and Greek, learn the roots. That's fantastic. But okay, have a Latin video of an animated, the Latin word for a cup?
David, that's how I learned Charonian. It was a fun video of cartoons.
Those are, no, actually, this is kind of funny. There was, and I will never forget this, I was channel surfing many, many years ago, and there was a cartoon on, certainly it was on public television, and it was a kid's cartoon, but, and you saw these monks in their cave and just wandering around in fields and things, and it was about Fra Jacobus and these other monks, and it was basically learn Latin the simple way, and it was a way for like fourth graders to start learning Latin. Most useless thing you could ever possibly do, but I was like, this is amazing. There's actually a learn Latin cartoon about monks and I wonder what happened to Fra Jacobus. I was probably struck by an anvil from Wile E. Coyoteus. I don't know. What I do know is, believe it or not, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. Here on Dave's Gone By, our 763rd episode, we're calling it Cover Story. Get it? Because Troy Coverdale, the sportscaster, will be with us in, about an hour and a half, I think, from now, talking to the great Rabbi Sal Solomon about Troy's career in media so far. He's still a pretty young guy, so he's got a lot of years to go to find some new place to bounce and call games, as he had been doing for so many years. Well, he could. Oh, by the way, can you shout out? This is the perfect time for a name shouting outing. And then you wrote a bunch down on the blue pad that I didn't get a chance to say anyway. So. Oh well. Well, if we get a chance to mention more names, I will. My name's Dave Lefkowitz. That's my wife, Joyce. I don't know. I can check. That's why I want to do what I'm wanting to do here. Anyway, what else do I need to tell you? Oh, I'm back. Yay, I'm back. Back in the New York room. So,
I just spelled the last name.
Well, let's see. Oh my gosh. So another Mark, Sandy, Gregory, Kevin, another Mark, Cindy and Barry and Paul and Rick. And all Erica, Irina, Peter, Larry, Adam, Ralph, Carl, 5 Davids, Mark, and George and Iris and Joe. So many folks tuning in to watch this program every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts here in the Daverhood. Remember, a couple of things. First of all, we give props to our very long-time sponsor, Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway. Since the mid-1970s, the Toron family has owned and operated Hewlett Minuteman Press, the franchise right in the heart of Hewlett, Long Island. If you need copying or printing or binding or silk screening or holiday cards or business cards or putting your design on balloons and banners and sporting equipment and clothing and uniforms, Hewlett Minuteman Press is the place to go. Also, wedding invitations and holidays. My gosh, if you haven't sent out your Rosh Hashanah cards, you have just a little time to do that. Hewlett Minuteman Press can help. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. So give them a call, 516-569-5577, area code 516-569-5577, Hewlett Minuteman Press. They are the copy kings. And I do feel like the king when I do this program every Saturday. Dave's gone by. So I've been talking a bit, and we'll be talking more about Greeley, Colorado, in the Daverhood where Joyce and I used to live. I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to get to our weekly segment that is based on stories that appear in that local newspaper, the Greeley Tribune. Oh, if they're feeling better, yeah, that'd be amazing. Joyce says she's not going to vomit, but she hasn't heard the stories yet. She knows my comedy. At some point, she's going to vomit. It's just whether it's on camera. Yes. So I give her this, a sound machine, and this Sound 12 Plus. And we have, what else do we have? I've got, and this one too, the white one. Here we go. So ladies and gentlemen, Greeley Crimes and Old Times. It's based on 2 items that are weekly in the Greeley Tribune. One has to do with phone calls that come into the local police department dispatch of people witnessing something that's making them go, that's really weird. I think I should call a cop. And the funniest ones are compiled by the newspaper into a column called Cop Log that these days Trevor Reed is putting together. And then our friend Mike Peters, he goes through the newspapers from 100 years ago and finds the weirdest, most wacky, nostalgic stories that were printed back in the Greeley newspaper. The column is called 100 Years Ago. We mix up both columns in something we call Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's have some Greeley crime and old timing for this Saturday. So, police responded. To my burp. Police responded to suspicious activity on 11th Avenue. A caller walked into the living room to find a random man who said he was waiting for his friend Terrence. The caller kicked the stranger out. So, you know, that was going to be Samuel Beckett's follow-up play.
What's that?
Well, at some point Godot does show up, and then it became Waiting for Terrence.
Oh, Terrence McNally?
Yeah, well, Terrence is bringing the donuts. Yeah.
Isn't Terrence McNally a name?
Yeah,
Yes.
the late Terrence
Yeah.
McNally was the first major person that I know of who died of COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah. Boy, way to bring us down there. There we go. Oh, let's have some more police action. Police responded to a possible break-in at a home on 14th Avenue. A man was sleeping under the caller's patio table,
Oh.
using cushions from the table and chairs to make a bed.
That's very nice.
But why would you not instead of on top of it?
Because you don't have sun. It's like a shield, you know. It's
Oh, I see. Yeah, it was 7 in the morning.
Yeah, you go right under the table. It's like a little cozy, like a
Yeah,
gazebo.
that's.
It's like a gazebo.
I like that. If I'm ever homeless, I'm going under a patio table. That's true.
Aim high.
Yeah.
Go under like a living room table.
Especially on St. Patrick's Day, when I'll go see my friend Patty O'Table.
Oh,
Come on, I need a tattoo on that. Thank you very much. Let's do an old time from 100 years ago in Greeley, Colorado. I'm going to give myself a little more. How's my headroom on that? Is it really, am I giving myself enough headroom? I can't see myself on Facebook. I see the Zoom window. Yeah, that's perfect. That's great.
You,
Is it me? Oh.
I just put a 4-leaf clover.
Oh, no, not this thing. Not this thing.
She photographs beautifully, though. What's her name? Cookies?
Her name's Vicky.
She photographs very well.
No, she does. She does.
She's very beautiful.
I mean, if there were like a hole in here,
God.
then I could understand. But anyway.
Please don't put it near my soap. Put it away from anything animal.
All right, here we go. Here we go. For the first time in several weeks, all of the council members, all of them, attended the city council's Tuesday meeting. Nothing was actually accomplished, except they bought a new city truck. So that sounds, the more things change, man. If you want to talk about bureaucracy, the council meets, nothing gets done, but they bought a truck. Actually, that's more than usual, I'm sure. Oh, and Mazel Tov, congratulations, as Rabbi Saul would say. Mr. and Mrs. Elbert Black were married last week in Greeley. They planned to leave in their touring car. However, their friends kindly let the air out of all their tires. All four, do 4 times. Yeah. So while they were waiting for another auto, a boy came by riding a cart pulled by a billy goat. The friends rented the cart from the boy and placed the bride and groom in it.
God.
So the goat pulled them downtown for pictures.
There you go.
Is that a great start to a marriage or what?
Nothing is, nothing better on your wedding day than being pulled by a stinky goat to downtown Greeley.
I know.
That's a party in itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At least, and it's sad when the very first day of your marriage, of your wedding, things just go bad. You know the guy's name? Billy. Apparently he was kind of gruff. But later on he was horny.
As long as he wasn't a kid.
Oh, I was going to say, I kid, but you beat me to it. Yeah, beat me to it, my dear. Let's have another new time, shall we? We shall. A caller on 10th Street gave a gift to someone. What do you think that gift is?
Is it this?
It wasn't that. No, but you played the sound effect earlier. What do you think? No, not a cat.
Was it?
No, it was not a musical instrument. What is that? Close. That's close. Very close. That's you today. No. The caller gifted a friend an assault rifle.
Oh.
And wanted to make sure the recipient was allowed to have firearms. I say, Merry Christmas, little boy.
David, when you have to ask if a recipient's allowed to have firearms, that's a no.
Well, no, I mean,
That's a no.
In the old days, Ralphie and his little BB gun rifle, okay, but that's an assault weapon. Like, what was that thing with a bump stock and a scope and all
If
of
you have
this?
to ask if someone can have an assault weapon, they should not possess one.
Yeah.
That's like a good,
I remember when I was asking, or they asked me if I wanted a scope on my rifle, and I said, no, just take Laboris. Anybody under 30 has no idea what that joke meant. All right, here we go. This is old news here, but good old news. The president of the WTCU, which is the Women's Christian Temperance Union of Greeley, because Greeley was dry for decades, didn't allow any alcohol, has said today that, go figure, all members are under orders to vote Republican in the coming election. The weird part of this story, it's like when a union recommends or tells its members.
You can't force people to.
No, you just say, well, it's the union order.
Oh, the one that they support, I got it.
Yeah, and who knows if the voting is not private or depends how it was tallied back then. So they're saying you're under orders to vote Republican, said the Women's Christian Temperance Union. But here's the weird part, the part that you would not expect from a temperance union. They also had led the fight for women's voting rights and the abolition of alcohol in the county. So talk about whiplash. It's like, yeah, progressive, women should vote, but no booze. It's like,
Remember we saw that on Murdoch Mysteries, they had to like stoop to conquer. So to get one agenda forward, you had to, ally with another bedfellow.
I guess, but it would have only been the women who wanted temperance anyway.
Maybe not. Listen, women should drink.
That's true. All right, here we go. We go elsewhere sometimes, by the way, for stories in Greeley Crimes and Old Times. So most of our stories come from northern Colorado. From the
apostles joining James and John.
James and John have joined. Oh my God, bring Jesus. He's
all right.
That's
even the last column.
Steve, Howie, Andrew, Eve, Blake. Is it Eve or Eva? Eve. Blake, Iris, Frank, Charles, and Lisa. Welcome to all of you. Thank you, Ben.
Oh, and say Kenny.
Say Kenny. Hello, Kenny. Welcome back. So this story is not from Greeley, Colorado, or even Colorado at all. It comes from Millersburg, Kentucky. So this is our outlier. And this happened just last week. A Kentucky driver was pulled over last Wednesday after police officers noticed something was a little bit off about his driver's license. The driver had apparently thought he could get away with, what do you think, Ben? What was wrong with his driver's license?
Carbon copy.
That's a great answer, but not quite. You're on the right track. No carbon was involved, but some talent was.
Crayons?
I'll give it to you. The driver had drawn his own license.
Nice. I like it. You should get an A for ingenuity.
I know, right? After more investigation, the officers learned the driver had no insurance and was driving on a suspended license. Now, the bizarre interaction took place in Millersburg, small town in northern Kentucky, east of Louisville. The Millersburg Police Department offered a pro tip for drivers hoping to get away with drawing their own plates. You know what the advice was?
What?
It's actually kind of cute. Don't forget to also draw the registration sticker.
Registration sticker and your insurance card.
Yeah. So he almost had, if he had just gone that extra mile, he just had that little extra tag drawn on. It would have been fine. Wow. Talented fellow, though. If you look at it from far away, it looks like a driver's license, Then you get close, and it's like, oh, there's a little flower over the eye. No, well, anyway.
And license has 7 S's in it.
Now, you're going to like this one. You're going to like, this is, you know what? Joyce and I have been in New York for like a year and a half. Let's do a New York story before we close out the segment with more Colorado. This story comes from literally Manhattan, Brooklyn, the boroughs, and Manhattan, and published by the New York Post. Don't call him lame. A video of a duck on a leash parading around the subway platform has attracted nearly 1 million viewers on the web, or all of it, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. The mysterious web-footed fowl is Forky, the new pet of Brooklynite Zeta Pugh. Forky, that's her name for him. It's actually taken from her favorite character in Toy Story 4, which I have not seen. But a 25-year-old actress, Zeta Pugh, took part in a video shoot organized by a friend last month. For the skit, a friend bought a $65 duck from a New Jersey farm. After the shoot, the 5-year-old fowl was about to be released into the wild when Pugh decided to adopt him. She named him Forky and said he was going to be in the street and I didn't want him to die, said the animal lover and mom of 4, who admitted that it was an impulsive decision. She knew that he would be a lot of work, but thought that he was just so beautiful. And also she knew if she left him roaming uptown, he'd go straight to a quack den. Thank you so much. And Pugh says, this is also a quote, "People from the hood say, you really brought joy to the hood. We haven't seen a duck, ever." She said she and Forky will waddle down Church Avenue, Utica Avenue, Flatbush Avenue. A petite 5'3", Pew avoids carrying Forky to keep him from getting, quote, too spoiled, which is why he's spotted mostly on a leash. And Pew said, quote, he gets a lot of respect over there. Forky has street cred. I repeat,
Oh my God.
Forky has street cred.
I don't think that.
Strangers have come up to her and asked to buy him, many of them wanting to make curry duck. In fact, one chef, and this I do not understand, if she bought the bird for $65 from a farm in New Jersey, why did one chef offer $5,000 for this duck? I do not know. But anyway, she's not selling. She says, I've got his back.
Aww.
Actually, I think the chef wanted his breast, but still. Pew told the New York Post he's not easy. He's like a child. You have to feed him, bathe him, put him to bed. And he experiences separation anxiety.
Oh, God.
When she leaves the room too long, he starts flapping his wings wildly. Still, says Pew, who has raised cats and dogs and turtles and rabbits, quote, this is the best pet I ever had. He's more exotic and unique. Forky is on a whole other level. Forky. Yeah. I wonder if at night she spoons with him. Some jokes are cutting, mine are cutlery. But yeah, no. Silver, where? I'm sorry. We're doing Greeley Crimes and Old Times here on Dave's Gone By. With me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling wife Joyce providing the sound effects. Let's do one or two more. And then it'll be the night we call it a day. A man called the police department asking about a ticket he misplaced since it was issued to him the week before. What do you think the violation was?
Not paying tickets.
Almost not. It's not paying tickets. It's distracted driving.
Oh God.
So don't figure he figured I got distracted where he put the ticket, and now the ticket was actually for being distracted.
At least you knew he had a ticket.
Yeah, good point. Makes sense. A caller on 12th Street reported finding, oh, this is horrible, 2 dead squirrels in the alley. She had called earlier about another dead squirrel, and she, by the way, told the police she was not poisoning them.
I don't know what's happening, and it's not me doing it, but I think they're all, come on.
I do carry arsenic in my purse, but it's not for the squirrels.
Yeah.
It's a heart medication.
It's for personal use.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna, perfect way to end Greeley Crimes and Old Times for this Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, making a very special appearance. And it's gonna be a little noisy, so I'm gonna ask you to hold your ears because I know you've got nausea and a headache. So, but oh my gosh, on this would have been potato day, behold the Grand Knish with a potato alert. Potato alert, potato alert. Yeah. Potato alert is when we have a story in Greeley Crimes and Old Times that has to do.
You did that, 2 people just joined.
Who joined? Who joined? Were they potatoes? No. Okay.
This is like the 17th David that joined.
So many Davids, so little time. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, welcome to Kurt und Frank und James, Anthony, Michael, Scott, Justin, and another David. Yes. So, potato alert for our last item in Greeley Crimes and Old Times today. Farmers are making more on the new prices of potatoes. The shipping companies are now paying $1.60 per 100 pounds of spuds. Wow. Wow. Worth every friggin' penny. Yeah, I think, that's kind of interesting. I think I'm getting a great deal at $3 for a 5-pound bag. These guys are paying $1.60 for 100 pounds.
You can probably get a ton of potatoes cheaper.
Really? Wow, I find that very appealing. Oh yeah. You know what? Let's go out. Not on that one. Let's do one more. The Tribune Republican which was the name of this newspaper 100 years ago. The Greeley Tribune was called the Tribune Republican. And the Tribune Republican Loyal Paper Carriers Club held a party at a local home this week. They enjoyed games of rummy and bunco.
Oh, my grandmother used to play bunco.
What is?
It's a dice game where you count dice on a card, and it's a whole thing.
Wow.
It's very difficult to follow.
So your grandma had quite a squad playing bunco, huh? Okay, bunco.
She did. She was the bunco squad.
Well, Robert Langtry and William Penrose won first prize in the two games, whereas Neil Miller captured both booby prizes. Well, I just have to say that anytime you can hold two boobies, that's a prize. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Greeley Crimes and Old Times for this Saturday.
Oh my goodness, we had someone named Skip join.
Skip! Oh my goodness.
And Gregory.
Is his Lou there? Because before I was skipping to to his Lou.
A lot of people are wanting the quiz, David. When is the quiz?
The quiz is going to be happening.
11?
No, we got the quiz at 10:30 in just a couple of moments, and we have Troy Coverdale joining us at 11:30 to talk about his sportscasting career. But this, my friends, was Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Harris, Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, yippee-yi, it is Would-have-been Potato Day here on Dave's Gone By. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. My darling wife is snickering in the background.
Says, hiya, hiya, hiya.
Hiya, I want to take you higher, higher, higher. Want to take you higher. Anyway.
And then Facebook asked me if I want to translate all my comments into English.
Nobody should translate my words into English at any point, for any reason, under any circumstance. We have a few minutes before we bring in, and I hope they're getting ready to join.
I may have to leave just the volume of noise.
Of course. Yeah. Literally, when Joyce has a headache, my voice destroys her.
This has too much loudness.
Well, yeah, because we got all these people, and it's very lively, folks, or I'm hoping. But before we get to our today, yesterday quiz, which has really become this whole new thing now, let's do, I'm going to go out of order a little bit, and I'm going to get this out of the way, and I apologize in advance. Joyce and I, and it also still dovetails with Joyce and I living in Colorado, dovetails with Joyce and me living in Colorado, and with Troy Coverdale from UNC going to be on, and KFKA going to be on the show. Let's stay in Colorado for just a moment or two longer and go to Pierce, Colorado, which is fairly close to Greeley in northern Co. It's a rural town there with a rural juror, and it will be part of our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting Rocky Mountain higher here on Dave's Gone By, doing the Colorado Limerick of the Damned. So I got it into my head a couple of years ago now to write a poem about every possible town, city, burg, or municipality that I could in Colorado, just for the heck of it, to see if I could. And it turns out I can. And I've written about 120 of them. And we do one a week here in the Daverhood. I will warn you that because they're limericks, they tend to be horrible and disgusting and tasteless and sick. So consider yourself warned. This limerick will be about Pierce, Colorado, a rural town in Weld County named after railroad official John Pierce, population of about 900 people. So not a lot going on. It's got an old post office, a bank, some people consider it a little bit of a ghost town because it's got abandoned buildings and other places, but at the same time, I went looking for housing there. It's like $500,000 for a home in friggin' Pierce, Colorado at the moment. By the way, the 2000 sci-fi film Titan AE was set in Pierce just before Earth is destroyed by aliens, which is of course why Trump is building a wall to keep the aliens out. But ladies and gentlemen, here comes a poem. It is our Colorado Limerick of the Damned for Pierce, Colorado. There is an old woman in Pierce who likes to be fucked fast and fierce. Although she's near 80, this dirty old lady can lift both her knees past her ears. Joyce said, that's disgusting. Please send your comments and complaints to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. I try and read everything that folks send me. I don't necessarily get a chance to answer, but that is the email address. And don't forget, please, that we have the website too, the place to go for all things Dave, where all the Davidians should be surfing when I'm not live on the show Saturday mornings. It's davesgoneby.com, davesgoneby, davesgoneby.com. So this is a place that's not just going to tell you what's on an upcoming show or show pictures of the program and things like that, which it does, but this is where the archives reside. This is where, if you're curious about what kind of show I was doing 4 years ago, because it was the same, but it was also different, what I was doing 8 or 12 or 16 years ago. This program's been on the air for almost 18 years. We're coming up on our 18th anniversary, first week of October. So yeah, if you're curious about what the show sounded like when we were just a radio show, go to davesgoneby.com and just surf the free archives. They are all there, virtually every program that we have ever done. And also even a separate archive for the interviews that we've done on the program, whether I was doing them or Peter Fitzgerald or Rabbi Saul Solomon. You will find them there and you can either download them or just stream them right on your computer. If for some reason you don't want to check out davesgonby.com, maybe you want to go to archive.org. This is a nonprofit website that is archiving just all this media and material from the 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries. And my show's there too. Hundreds of episodes are at, and in fact, the interviews too, archive.org. And you're also going to go to castbox.fm. castbox.fm. And that is the great place where you're going to want to go to have just the audio. So if you're an MP3 kind of person, you're going back out to places to get your hair cut or to the gym, and you don't need the video, you will find all our episodes there as audio only at castbox.fm, perfect for podcasting. So, and I think, and then you'll find all our stuff on YouTube as well. So there's really a myriad of ways, a myriad period, my friends, of enjoying Dave's Gone By. But davesgoneby.com is really the first place to start. And we're going to get started our Today, Yesterday quiz by admitting our friend of the Daverhood, our theater critic buddy, our pal, that I've just admitted into, I have to get into the waiting room there. Ladies and gentlemen, and admit, they're all coming in. Let's get them in for our Today, Yesterday quiz. So hold on, they're loading up the screens. I got to do gallery view. Welcome to Leslie Hoban Blake.
Good morning. Hi, Stacey.
And Stacey's there. Hello, Stacey. Stacey, my cousin Stacey Shub. Can I get your microphone on there? Are you muted? Are you unmuted? Are you mutable? Are you
or immutable, whichever.
I have mucus. I'm dealing with that. Stacey, you're on camera. Do we have voice? Uh-oh.
Hit the mute button, Stacey. Hit the mute button.
Yeah. Or just go out and go to the Helen Keller School and hit a mute. They love that.
Rah, rah, rah.
Leslie shaking her head. And I want to tell everybody, see, this is the problem that we had last week. I want to tell everybody, okay, I'm on the right side of the screen. Leslie is below me on the screen, and then Stacey is in the upper left. But apparently you guys see a whole different thing.
Yes, definitely.
Things are different for you. I don't know where you all are. Oh, there's Shy.
I don't see Shy.
He poked his hair in for a moment.
Oh,
Shy is an actor. He just disappeared. I guess he's a magician. He just disappeared.
yes, that would be it.
So since Leslie, we have you without a problem. How are you doing? How was your week?
I don't have any problem.
I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I got you.
Yes.
My week was really very good, and I'm proofing bread as we speak. So that's, you know.
You're what?
I'm proofing a loaf of rye bread dough. Hello, Shy.
Are the grammatical
Hello, Shy.
a loaf of bread?
Yes, I bake now.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm one of those people who started baking during the pandemic. I never baked a day in my life. I was not in my kitchen at all. I had a desk where the stove was supposed to go.
Wow. And
I
now,
had the stove taken out. So now I'm cooking and baking, and I put in a raisin walnut loaf to proof.
Ooh.
You know what proofing is?
No, you missed my joke entirely. I didn't think.
I didn't even hear it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you get it? Proofing bread. Are you marking it with
No,
red?
what was your joke? What was your joke? Marking it?
Say it 3 times now. I'm saying, are you marking it with red and correcting its grammar?
I see.
Oh.
Okay.
So what is?
Did I bother going on with that or not? You proof bread. You put the 4 ingredients. It's the easiest thing in the world. You mix dry ingredients and water until you get a gooey mess, and you put the gooey mess under saran wrap for anywhere from 2 to 12 hours, depending on the recipe that you're following. So I got up in the middle of the night last night, and I thought, I'll proof bread, because when we finish, I can take that and I can bake it. It's all ready to go.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I'm really excited because it looks like a really good loaf. They're
So
not always the same.
This was your first loaf. This is the first time you've done it.
No, the first time I did it was in July, in the middle of the night. I got up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep. I mean, I really had a lot of anxiety at that point. I have less anxiety now. So, hello.
Hello.
Are you on, Sin?
So are we all risen?
Are you on, Sin? Do you have sound? And
yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello, Cynthia.
Stacey, do you have sound now?
I think, Stacey.
Hi, I have sound.
There we go.
Fine. Okay.
Welcome, everybody.
Is it just the ladies today?
Well, Shy is there and Jeff is wandering.
You have a real background today, Sin. Unless that's a green screen.
Yeah, well, no, it's just a wall.
I didn't know you had walls. I thought you had, the beaches. And
I know, but I use Zoom at work, and the people didn't like the background, so.
Oh, really? So they made you get rid of it?
Didn't make me. Didn't make me. No one makes me do anything.
You have work, you're back in school?
Oh, I'm not in the building.
Oh, you have an intruder.
Because I'm so old, I'm allowed to work remotely.
Oh, well, I'll tell you something. I wouldn't go into a school building today.
No,
you could not pay me to go in a school building today. Period.
No. I think we're up to 18 teachers who are tested positive.
Yes.
And the buildings have not been cleaned.
It's an absolute petri dish situation just waiting to happen.
One of them closed already, didn't it? Shocker, up in the Bronx. I heard they already had.
Well, there's one in Queens where the teachers are sitting outside. They won't go in because a teacher tested positive, and the DOE didn't tell them.
The rule is 2 people have to test positive. So now, it's just insane. They don't know what the hell they're doing. It's I
work in a school district too now, and we got a message from the superintendent yesterday saying that not our district, but a nearby district had one student and his sister test positive. But everything's okay with it. Just the tracing, and they're saying they didn't come into contact with a lot of people, so it's all right.
The problem with the city is they're not mandating that anybody be tested.
Well,
the problem with the city is the city right now. Nobody is doing anything. Nobody wants to take charge. Everybody's look at Carranza doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what he did in his other districts.
As a New York City employee, I cannot say that, but
yes,
I can say
Hey, I get a pension. If I don't get a check next month, it's because I opened my big fat mouth, okay? But,
All I
but
know
the point
is, yeah, I have a problem with man dating because I'm heterosexual. I prefer girl dating, but that's just me. But you know,
that was quick.
Nothing.
Saturday morning, that was
no,
quick.
it's just
Oh,
terrible.
but your brain's been up for 2 or 3 hours. See, mine just got up. So
A few of us just got up.
Yes.
Say what?
Thanks, Sin, for waiting.
I actually
You're
got
welcome.
here on time today. That was, I won
Yeah.
a medal.
And by the way, my wife says that Stacey, your hair looks gee, your hair looks terrific.
Oh, thank you.
I'm like a hottie cousin. It's kind of two.
Did
two
Kim
I'm not going to do that.
yeah.
Who cut your hair,
A
Stace?
hottie critic.
What?
Also.
Who cut your hair?
June. Go
Yeah.
to Chinatown. June's fantastic.
That's what I need. I let my husband cut my hair. Not quite the same.
Well, it looks.
No.
You have both have the same Bob and the same Michael, which is kind of a weird. Anyway,
There's a different part in the two hairs. Only you wouldn't notice that, Dave, but the rest of us notice things like
I'm a
that.
man. I noticed nothing.
I'm wearing my Donald Trump comb over today. That's the best I could do. It's just, you know.
So let me just introduce everybody formally, and then let's get to the game. Oh, I'm sorry. You're all in. I thought somebody was.
Is Shy playing today?
Are we here to play a game?
He'll play.
Oh,
But he has to be in from the beginning. He can't go in and out.
He's cooking for me.
Oh,
Oh, what's he cooking?
Breakfast?
No, that was good. Thank you.
All right, here we go. I want to tell everybody, just so we know, we're playing the Today, Yesterday video game with somewhat
Sorry, I need
revised
you.
rules. I'm going to figure out how
Sorry,
to
I
do
need
them.
you for the
did you
trivia.
come up with rules?
I've got to come up with, well, I had
Because
rules
Polar
last
Bear
time.
said he's not playing unless there are rules.
There were rules last time, but it was confusing for you guys because your window, what you were looking at is different from mine. Your
So what's the
configuration
order?
windows. That threw everybody off in terms of we were going in a clockwise circle. Your clock was different than mine. And I was
So
like,
now-
I'm going this
So
way.
I'm on top on my screen. Where I'm on your right on my screen.
I'm on his right on my screen.
Yeah. Everybody's got a different screen, so you've got to leave it to me.
No, I'm on your left. I'm sorry. I'm confused myself. I'm on your left. And
You're
I'm on top.
my lower left.
No, but I'm on top on my screen. And where are you on your screen, Sen?
I'm on the top right. You're on the bottom left.
Okay.
Everybody's
So-
got a different screen. That's
So
why you
give
guys
us a number. Just give us an order now, and we'll know how that goes.
Right. We're going clockwise.
Well,
Just so you know,
But everybody's got a different clock.
but I don't. Follow me.
Well, just
I
tell
will
us
tell
the
you
order.
what's next. So I start. Well, I mean, I'm
Yes. Okay. You moderate. Go ahead.
If we go
Yeah,
clockwise,
he
it's
thinks he does.
Cynthia, Leslie, Stacey, and Shy. Me, Cynthia, Leslie, Stacey, and Shy. Me.
Wow,
Cynthia,
that's
Leslie,
no
Stacey.
way. Okay, for me, it's not a start. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle no matter what.
Hi,
So
Jeff.
that's fine.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. That puts me in the middle either way, so I can keep track of it.
You will get to be the sandwich. You are the filling, Leslie. You're the tuna fish between the slices of bread. Okay.
Don't say tuna fish. He's a
Wait,
vegetarian.
Oh,
I need Pinocchio.
Wait, bears are pescatarian. What are you talking about? They like fish.
So now, what do we have a visual? Just raising our. If Pinocchio or Bear go up, that's our signal that we're in.
No, here's. Let me read the rules because this time I got special.
He's got rules. Okay.
Okay. First thing I've got to remind myself to ask everyone to pick a number between 2 and 12. All right.
Who
So
starts?
just call it. No, anyway, just call it. What?
6.
6.
6. 3 for Cynthia and Stace. What do you
I
got?
picked 6.
I know. Leslie says 6.
Oh, you did?
2. What you got?
You said 2? 4.
4. All right. We have a 6, a 2, and a 4. You guys keep track. I have a. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Joyce has handed me a pen. All right. I got a randomizer.
I'll make it worth
I'm
your
going to
while.
roll a
Oh,
die.
geez, I was going to say, how does that work? If you know all the numbers.
What?
So here we go. The randomizer comes up with 11. So I'm literally looking at 2 visual dice with the number 11. The person closest to that number goes first. So who?
Leslie.
Leslie.
So we start.
Leslie.
Leslie gets the very first question, and we'll keep going.
I'm just happy that I rolled an 11. That's all. That's a good thing to roll if you're playing craps.
Okay,
Shooting craps.
so-
Excuse me.
All right, here we go. There are going to be 9 questions plus a tiebreaker if we need one.
The thing I want to know is how did people
Yeah.
who are in the back, you didn't tell us that yet.
Each question is worth 2 points for right answer. Wrong answer is worth 0. If the contestant gets a question wrong, I'm going to do a one-sided die for the person who gets to steal. So,
okay.
Leslie, your numbers are 1 and 2. Cynthia, yours are 3 and 4. And Stacey, yours are 5 or 6. So when I roll that die, if it comes up 1 or 2, you get to steal if it's not your question, Leslie.
Oh, it's
Cynthia,
different.
you get to steal if it's 3 or 4. Or Stacey, you get to steal if it's 5 or 6.
So you basically will say to us, we don't have to know that. You'll say, Leslie, you can steal. Stacey, you
Right.
Stacey, I lost him on pick a number.
Yeah, I zoned out. But
Just tell me when it's my turn. I'll wake up.
Fair enough.
Yes,
Fair
that's what's going to happen. But it's going to be arbitrary. He's going to do it with the roll of an imaginary die.
Bingo. Well, it's not, I mean, the dice, it's
Yes, to us, it's imaginary. We
Like
can't.
my head, yeah.
You could be saying anything.
Right.
It's
And then
we're trusting you.
there's wrong answer stuff. So here we go. Are we ready?
All right, but is Shy in the game or not in the game? Do you count as one vote, the two of you?
Yeah, 3 teams. So
I'm
whether
a
Shy's
team
in
of-
it or not.
This is
yeah.
my team, okay? It's
Yeah.
not exactly the same. It's only one brain on my team. and
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
Leslie,
the
you're
same.
using the bare minimum. All right.
He's
So,
coming for you, Dave. He's coming for you. Wait, which way? That way. Now
so
he's
is
coming
Shy
for
part of it
you.
or not, Stacey?
he is. It's a very small apartment.
Oh, so he'll shout out the answers while he's making.
I can hear you.
And Jeff, are you in it? Because I literally see your half of your
Just
face.
half in.
Okay, Jeff, you gotta move in a little bit. Make believe you know me.
Oh, and by the way, a shout out to Shy. We actually watched his
Oh,
video,
yes.
very, very funny video about racism. It's hilarious.
Which one did you watch?
Racism.
It's hysterical, folks. So if you guys, we got a thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm giving you a thumbs up also. Wait, there it is. I can't.
Thank you. Thanks so
Leslie's
much.
thumb is below, and Shy's yellow thumb is up.
Notice we all were curious enough to go, Shy. So there you are.
By the way, I try not to be racist on this program, and I fail relentlessly.
Watch it again.
Yeah, a few
If any
times.
of you want to watch my 3,000 reviews on television, I can tell you. I'll give you my YouTube channel.
Yeah, do it. Do it now, and then we'll get to the game. So, what is your YouTube channel, Les?
Oh, it's actually 2 on the Aisle and my name, Leslie Hoban Blake.
So, wait.
It's not my channel. It's
The
the 2
channel
on
is
the
on
Aisle.
the aisle. Okay, the channel is on Shy's channel is what? Shy.
Shyaporn. Shyaporn. We all learned that last
His
week.
name is actually Shyaporn Theerakulstit. Now the K is silent. How the fuck? What is it? It's Theerakulstit. What the hell is it?
It's Shy.
I know it's Shy. I want it to be.
That's
you know,
it. He's got
politically
one
correct
name, like
Thailand.
Cher.
I
He's
want
Shy.
to know what you thought. Stacey, I want to know what Shy thought of soft power last year. David Henry Wong's
Oh, yeah.
play.
Well,
Does
that
he
was
have
about
an
China,
opinion
not
to weigh in
Thailand.
on?
Yeah.
No? Shy,
I don't-
you said-
I don't
you
think
said
he
you
heard the
But you
question.
said he could hear, so that's not working either.
All right. Anyway, we move on. Let's begin the game.
Oh, the game.
Again, yeah, we had a game there. Now, I think Leslie won the toss in terms of the going.
Well, that depends on how you look at it.
The
Yes.
bear one.
Going first is not always the best. But
We
go ahead.
begin in the year 1755. He was arrested in July, but sentenced today, September 12, 1755, without a trial to 5 years in a Venetian prison. There were no formal charges, but he was a gambler, a Freemason, and a womanizer. On film, he's been played by Marcello Mastroianni, Donald Sutherland, and Richard Chamberlain. Can you name him?
Do I just get to do it? Do I have to
Rolling
wait for everybody to
Just
weigh in?
Wait a sec, just so that the folks at home have a little time to
No.
think about it. I'll read the question one more time and then you can answer. I think you know the answer. He was arrested in July, but sentenced today in 1755. No trial, but he was a gambler, a Freemason, a womanizer, sent to a Venetian prison, and he's been played on film by Marcello Mastroianni, Donald Sutherland, and Richard Chamberlain. Can you
Among
name his
others.
historical figure?
Among myriad others, yes.
So who are?
Oh, Vicky Quader's writing in about the Latin nuns.
Oh, by the way, our guest from a couple of weeks ago, Vicky Quaggy of the Nun play, is writing more about nuns because we're talking about them.
More Latin.
She wants more Latin in the show.
In the
So,
quiz, yes.
E pluribus, Leslie, what is the answer to the question?
Casanova.
It is Giacomo Casanova. I didn't even give you a countdown. I'm sorry. But
I wouldn't have known Giacomo. I did not know he had a first name. I
That's
thought he was
fine.
just
Like
called
Jeopardy.
Casanova.
Well, Shy only has a first name and he only has a last
There you
name.
go.
Right, right.
Here's the weird thing about Casanova, or the weird thing about,
Among the myriad, yes.
well, the surprise in terms of media is that when Fellini made his movie, Casanova was not played by Marcello Mastroianni. That was a different film. Donald Sutherland was in the Fellini film, which is really, really strange.
So who won?
And I believe in the British television series, David Tennant, Doctor Who played him. I
Really?
believe. I could be wrong, but I know I watched it, and I think it was David Tennant,
Well,
whom I did not know at that time because I hadn't watched Doctor Who yet.
well, you know your Lotharios, Leslie, because
Oh, I
you have
do.
to-
God help me.
Okay. This brings us to our next contestant. Our next contestant is, let's see, we're going this way on my screen, which makes it Stacey and Shy. Here we go. The year 1792. 2 years after the mutiny on the HMS Bounty, the court-martial began. William Bligh was the victim, set adrift with loyalists on his crew. Who led the insurrection? Okay, so if you know it, or you can talk about it, but don't say it yet.
Did you hear the question?
And I will read the question one more time. 1792 is the year, 2 years after the mutiny on the HMS Bounty, the court-martial began. William Bligh was the victim, set adrift with loyalists on his crew. Who led the insurrection? So I'll give you a moment or two, and if anybody wants to write in, viewers at home, if you want to eat,
Are there extra points for knowing who played them in each movie that they're watching?
Yes.
no extra points, but you can wow us with your knowledge.
Our wrong guess is Kane.
Kane, like in the Kane Mutiny Court-Martial.
No, Big Daddy Kane.
Joyce said no, Big Daddy Kane, which is also the wrong answer. So I'm sorry, Sugar, but Kane is not the answer there.
Oh,
So here's the deal. We
Not
have two
today,
people who can possibly steal.
Oh, David, they were saying trying to remember. Oh, people who need time, they're saying trying to remember the answer.
Yeah, well, that's why there's a little bit of a delay, so we want to give people time to write in. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my random, where the hell are they? I go into my Chrome and roll the dice again. Here we go. Roll again. I think this is going to be a one-sided die. So I have to change that to, where the hell is one again?
How do you have one side on a die?
No, they show one die instead of two dies, and you can roll it, and I'm rolling it, and then, the number is 1. So, I'll figure this out. One, so one belongs to Leslie. So Leslie, you get.
Yes, I know the answer.
Wait, how
Of
are
course
you,
you do.
what are you basing it on?
What do you want
He
my base
rolls
on?
the die.
Knowledge.
Right.
No, he has an imaginary, he has a thing with a die
Okay.
on it.
Right.
Right,
Yeah,
but
I have
number
a thing where
one,
I can roll a die on.
And he assigned us numbers at the beginning when you weren't listening, Sin.
And she wasn't paying attention.
Yes,
So
he
Leslie
assigned
is
us each
1
a
and 2.
number.
If the die
And
comes
those
up
numbers
wrong-
get to steal. My number is 1 or 2. Yours, I
I'm
believe,
3,
is 3 or
4. No, I'm 5, 6.
And you're 5 or 6.
I'm 5,
That's how it goes. Got it now?
Okay, so Leslie,
She
you
zoned
get-
out again. Pretend it's like a classroom, Sin. Pay attention.
That's
Cynthia,
you're the
why
teacher.
should now be different?
Cynthia, 1, 2 Macarena is me. 3,
Got it.
4 Macarena is Stacy. 5, 6 Macarena is
No.
you. Got it?
I'm 5,
No,
6.
she's 5'6".
Forget it. I only know my
Joyce,
number.
is your microwave?
I remembered your Macarena, so there you go.
Here we go.
That
The
was
call
HMS
back.
Bounty was the ship.
Did I give the answer?
Yes, please,
Yes.
Leslie.
Fletcher Christian, first played by Francois Tone, opposite Charles
That's correct.
Martin. Second played by Marlon Brando. I can't remember who played as Captain Bligh. I think it was the wonderful British actor who's long dead, and I can't remember his name.
I don't
But
know.
that was a remake. And then there was the BBC version, and I don't know who the hell was on that one. I love that movie.
I think it was Arnold Stang. Could have
Yes,
been.
every time we know an answer.
Anyway, so, wow, Leslie's running away with the early part of the game, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, early part, you know.
All right.
We haven't had a chance to answer yet.
Well, guess what, Cynthia and Jeff? This is going to be your chance to answer the third question in our trivia quiz. The year is 1910, okay? The Munich premiere of this composer's 8th symphony featured more than 1,000 people, not in the audience, but musicians. Ever since, the piece has been nicknamed Symphony of 1,000. Name that composer. So
Is there a choice?
Don't say there's no choice. I'm sorry. There's a Joyce, but she's doing the sound effects. So I'll read it again. 1910 is the year. The Munich premiere of this composer's 8th symphony featured more than 1,000 people, not watching, but they were the actual musicians. Ever since, the piece has been nicknamed Symphony of 1,000. I'll even play a little for you.
Oh,
That's
not fair. You just gave it away, David.
I know I did. I should have played name that. I can name that in 3 xylophone notes.
I almost did a spit take all over my laptop when you did that, David. I was drinking coffee at the time.
What did he give away?
Oh
it
my
was a
God.
joke. No, you're really not there today.
No, that was not a
He
clue.
was playing a xylophone. It was not a real clue.
Yeah, no.
Not even a real xylophone. So.
That's right.
I know there were 1,000.
There were 1,082 musicians.
1,000.
Nope, 1,082.
Oh.
Oh, I think they know it. Do you know it?
I do know it, but I can't. It's like a
We have answers
I
coming.
can't remember.
Don't say them, hon.
So we have another bounty from David Sheward.
Well, Mutant on the Bounty, yeah.
Was David Sheward playing?
David Sheward is not playing. We have people who are watching at home.
Oh,
and they can,
please say hi to David for me.
But anyway, I think we have an answer on our. Do we have any answers?
Schubert. I don't know. I really don't know. I can't think of it. I can't think of it.
That was it. No, I think people are taking it aback.
And the answer, by the way, was not Mutant on the Bounty. It was Fletcher Christian. That was the character we were looking for.
I gave that.
Yeah, no, Leslie, I know, but someone answered on the internet, Mutiny on the Bounty.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
I think Bear gave that one, Leslie.
All right. So
What did you say?
Bear, that was Bear answering. Don't take credit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, Bears. Yes, you're right. It was Bears. Bear knew all of that stuff. You're right.
That's true.
How did you figure that out, Stacy?
Jeff and
I
Cynthia,
thought we hid that very well.
the question,
It can't be so
1910,
obvious next time.
8th symphony of this composer with, as you say, 1,080 something musicians in it. Who was the composer?
It's on the tip of his tongue, but he doesn't know, so he's just gonna guess like Schubert.
The answer is.
Wait.
What? Listen, don't. Remember, because.
He has to roll the dice.
Not Schubert.
Not Schubert. The Shubs did not get Schubert. No, it is not Schubert. So after all,
Good guess, though.
Tried.
My die rolling thing. Are you ready? Here comes the dice roll or die roll.
I don't know.
Oh, now you know?
I can't answer that. No,
All right. And the number is 6. So 6 belongs to, obviously if it comes up the Cynthia and Jeff again, they can't do it. 6 is Stacey. So Stacey
Oh my
and Sean,
goodness.
do you have any, you get to steal.
Do we have a guess? Do you know? Do you know? No, our guess is
I had guessed
Stravinsky. I don't think it's right, but that's our guess.
I thought you were going to say Lin-Manuel Noriega, but no. Leslie, who now, of course, gets
Leslie knows.
the final answer on this.
No, the clue for me was not the 1,000 in the orchestra. I didn't know that. But when you said 8th symphony, it's Mahler. There are only certain people whose symphonies are known by their numbers, and Mahler's 8th is, that's the one that everybody knows.
Mahler's 8th. It wasn't Mahler's 8th.
Beethoven's 9th,
It still requires a big orchestra, but they don't do it with like a
I never knew that about the number of people. I never knew that.
Neither did
I think I learned that from, was it Bernstein who used to conduct Mahler? I don't remember now, but somebody famous conducted Mahler all the
Well,
time.
when Bernstein, that's the thing, Mahler's symphonies were like an hour and a half long, but when Bernstein would conduct them, they'd be 2.5 hours long. That was his like, let's go like this.
It's a little like the show, yes.
Thank you, Leslie. This is great. I put you on TV and I take shit. Here we go. All right, let's go for the. By the way, Leslie, you should.
My first TV show, kiddo. You know.
You were on To Tell the Truth. And
Leslie has
we did that. We talked about that already. It's okay.
To nothing.
6
to nothing.
You guys can catch up.
Yeah.
Catch up. The Grand Knish is making an appearance because it was Potato Day.
We're kissing the Grand Knish is what we're doing. Actually, he's eating. He just took a bite out of the Grand Knish.
Hold on, it's feeding time because for Potato Day that isn't really.
It's feeding time. You're going to get breakfast. I have to go make mine after this.
There we go. Oh, are you okay? Hold on.
What is happening?
All right, they're good. There we go.
You just burped a potato. It's a
I burped a potato. Yes. Because else milk and vodka just don't work. All right, here we go. Leslie Hoban Blake.
It grew from a burpee seed.
Oh.
Now you're here.
That was too good.
That was Jeff. She's still sleeping.
That was me.
Really?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so
Everybody
we're going.
Makes Dave puns, is in the game. All right.
So now we've been going.
Rubs off.
Circumferentially.
Should be Leslie, right?
Yeah, Leslie actually gets the.
I actually get a question.
Question initially now.
Yeah.
The year 1928. Oh boy, Leslie, you may get this one. Opening at the Martin Beck Theater. Don't forget the theater question. Is a forgotten comedy drama called The Night Hostess. Making her Broadway debut is an actress who would make her film debut 3 years later opposite John Barrymore in A Bill of Divorcement. Name her. And this is actually a multiple choice because this would have been really tough.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, not for you. I'm almost tempted to give you an extra point if you answer it without the multiple. No.
Just kill us. Just bury us now.
Yeah, really.
If you wanted to, they wouldn't let you do it.
He loves family, I see.
Okay, I'll read the multiple choice.
Look here, you can give this practice.
We have a
Rosh
guest.
Hashanah's coming. What are you going to do? Yeah.
Brings a brand new Oster blender. $25 on it. No, this is not true. We just.
Are you regifting again, Dave? Are you regifting again, please?
Just the box. There's nothing in it, but you
Just
get
the box.
If you answer.
I want the potato. Can I
Yeah, right. Do we get to choose? Right. I'll take a chicken, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read the question with the multiple choice. This one more time. Opening at the Martin Beck Theater on September 12th, 1928, a forgotten comedy drama, The Night Hostess. In it, making her Broadway debut is an actress who would then make her film debut in 1931 opposite John Barrymore in A Bill of Divorcement. Whisper very quietly. Yes.
That's from the
Someone on the internet actually got this right already.
Well, the guy who got it right was the president of the Outer Critics, right?
Oh, is it David?
Yes.
Oh, Mazel Tov, David. I think Leslie, you got some competition. Not really.
I get to play opposite Dave Short. Okay, all right.
You know
Let's see
what?
what we get.
Stacey, obviously we're not the competition.
No.
You know what?
For last. We're competing for last
Oh,
place.
hey, you guys don't know David Short. It's a big deal to be playing opposite David Short.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's speaking of someone in the
I
board of
thought we were the
education.
big
He's
deal.
Former
You know.
drama desk president,
Yeah.
a big and an old friend.
Yeah.
Let's
Leslie's the
ask
big
him a
deal.
math question.
Finish with read your choices, unless you want me to make my guess without them.
Leslie, tell you what, I'm going to let you answer without the multiple choice, but I won't hold it against you if you're wrong, and then I'll give you the multiple choice. Fair enough?
Well, that's nothing fair. I believe it's Katharine Hepburn.
You believe it's Katharine Hepburn? Could it possibly be Katharine Hepburn? I believe you're right.
Oh, why did we get that question? It's the only one.
But again, it's not like I know all of that. I didn't know till you got to Bill of Divorcement. I was thinking Helen Hayes.
No,
But Helen Hayes was much earlier. But Bill of Divorcement is, that's famous movie.
I had never heard of it. So
You knew one.
Actually, Cynthia and Jeff should have gotten that one because he's a divorce attorney. Would you have known that?
Ask them.
Yeah.
You knew that one?
Yeah.
I knew the film too.
Well, I should be on chat
I'm
so I
supposed
could.
to ask you, why are seagulls called seagulls? Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels.
They'd have to convert.
That's opposed to the seagulls who are that we know, right? Barb and
Irving and
no, Barb and her husband, the ones who do the Broadway by the year, those seagulls.
Oh, Scott and Barbara.
Scott and Barbara.
Who have been on this program, or Scott has been on the show. All right, we have Leslie just basically walking away with this game now.
She's up to 8.
Yeah.
Today she's kind of running away.
Run.
To make up for me having bad hair today, that's all.
What bad?
Tell David
Oh, you look good, Leslie, and you did such a good job setting up today. No, you know.
Yeah, no, I think Leslie.
No, I get, I got up early enough to do it, but I wasn't, I didn't have time to do this, just to do this.
Well, you should like.
Thank you for noticing, Stacey, that I got on okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
You did. All right, here we go. We have our next question. This is for Stacey and the unseen Shy.
It was me second.
Where is he? Is he finished breakfast? What the hell is he making?
He's a great cook.
Or something? What?
Right. Living up to his name.
This is for Stacey and Shy. 1964. Opening today in movie theaters was A Fistful of Dollars, the first spaghetti western, starring Clint Eastwood and directed by Sergio Leone. 2 sequels would follow. The first was For a Few Dollars More. What was the third? Don't answer right away, because I will read it again.
No? Okay.
But keep it in mind if you have it, and I will read it again. Opening today in movie theaters in 1964 was A Fistful of Dollars, the first spaghetti western, starring Clint Eastwood and directed by Sergio Leone. 2 sequels would follow. The first was For a Few Dollars More. The third was, so give it some thought. Give me a moment. Let's see if we're getting any answers from the Peanut Gallery.
It's quiet.
I should have another name for the Peanut Gallery. The
Potato Gallery?
Outer Daverhood. The Daver.
Oh, the Outer Limits. How about the Outer Limits?
Outer Limits. The Daver Hinterland. That's terrible. The Hinterhood. No, it's worse. All right. Stacey and Shy, I'm going to give a countdown. Do you have an answer to this question about this movie?
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Wow, 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 wow. That's right. You are correct.
I have seen it.
That was Stacey and Shy.
Wow.
And you were just a baby, Stace.
Yes, thank you, Cynthia.
That was the year I was born. I was a little infant too, and I was both good, bad, and ugly. So there you go.
Said a fistful of coupons.
Who said that? So it was like a fistful of coupons.
I don't know what that is.
No idea, but cute. Yes, it was indeed a fistful of good, bad, and the ugly. Well done. All right, we've got 8-2 now.
Not today.
Let's see if Cynthia and Jeff can crawl back into our today, yesterday.
David got it too.
Yeah, we're crawling back to bed.
David Sheward, by the way, got the answer right as well. So go, David. Go, David. All right, here we go. The year, and this is for Jeff and Cynthia, or Cynthia and Jeff, depending on which way your screen is turned. 1965 is the annum. Both, somebody's chatting. Is somebody writing a chat to me? I can't even see it. The potatoes.
No, were you, Stace?
Here we go. Here is
Instead of Peanut Gallery, get it?
Oh, the potato gallery. Well done.
You made him happy.
Okay, here we go. 1965 is the year, Jeff and Cynthia.
Yeah, we got it.
The Dick Van Dyke Show and Dick Van Dyke win Emmy Awards tonight. For 1 point, can you name the 2 other comedy writers on the Alan Brady Show? And for the other point, name the actors who played them.
Oh my goodness. That's a hard one.
Wait, tell us when.
Well, again, this was 1965 was the year, and this was all through the show.
No, do you want us to answer now?
Oh, no, not yet.
No. Give people a chance.
The year is 1965. Both the Dick Van Dyke Show and Dick Van Dyke won Emmy Awards back on September 12, 1965. 1 point if you can name the 2 other comedy writers on the Alan Brady Show. The other point if you can also name the actors who played them on the show. Don't answer yet. I see some nodding going on.
I'm hungry. It's breakfast.
We're kind of delayed here. I want to remind people it's a little after 11 o'clock. You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling, wonderful wife, Joyce. The Grand Knish has joined us to supervise the day-yesterday quiz on what would have been Potato Day. This is our 763rd episode of the show.
That's amazing.
I'll tell you.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah, I woke up tired. Thank you.
Move this away, and then you can get it.
Stacey, for your information, I'm riding my bicycle.
Absolutely correct. So someone on the internet.
I'm on my exercise.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
Stop impressing me.
Hey, can I help you this way?
Oh, there's a dog! Yay! Oh,
You
look
gotta
at
tell me the
you!
answer.
Oh.
Okay.
Are you ready for us yet?
Okay, tell me.
No.
The dog is coming on.
The dog is giving the answers to Jeff.
Okay.
Oh, that's no fair. No
In his
fair.
ear.
Yeah. All right.
Beautiful
Yeah,
dog.
I got it.
I love your dog.
Before I
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. It is Sally Ride and Buddy Morell, and it was Maury that played Buddy, and Rosemarie played Sally.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you just off by a little bitty bit. And if your other guys are okay with this, say it again. Say the answer again.
Sally and Buddy were the writers.
Right.
Right?
Thank
Maury
you.
played Buddy,
Mhm.
and Rosemarie played Sally.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Right.
No, but he said Buddy Morell. It was actually Buddy Sorrell. But it's,
Sorrell, right.
I'm not. That's fine.
Thank you for
Okay,
dropping the last name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
2 points. That's fabulous. Yes, Jeff and
Oh, wait a
Cynthia.
second.
What?
Wait, we have a question from David.
We have a question from David Sheward. All right,
What
throw
was
it
the
in.
name of Buddy's wife and Sally's boyfriend?
Oh,
Buddy's
geez.
wife and Sally's boyfriend.
Buddy's wife was Pickles.
Pickles.
Giggles?
Pickles.
Pickles, you're right.
And Sally.
And Herman Glocksher was Sally's boyfriend.
I won't even remember that. Literally do not remember that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's amazing, Jeff.
Well done. Well done. Look.
I live in a black
I
and white world.
Everybody's got their categories.
What did you say? What did you say?
Jeffrey's category is baseball and TV.
Black and white.
Right, in black and white.
Okay.
Well done.
Good to
Well
know.
done. All right, we have.
We're
Oh
up.
my gosh, just a couple more questions to go. But at least everybody's on the board now. It's 8-2 with Leslie in all. There he is. I'm sorry, the dog comes on. I'm like, ah. So next question does go to Leslie. So you can add to your lead if you get this correct. The year 1978.
It looks like Jeff has had some Zoom under him.
Well, yeah, I don't see, but yeah, Jeff is doing a Zoom do. Here we go. 1978 is the year, Leslie. Debuting on ABC Tonight was Taxi, a groundbreaking sitcom focusing on the lives of New York City taxi drivers. No, that was the boyfriend of Sally. Yeah, a groundbreaking sitcom focusing on the lives of New York City taxi drivers, and their abusive dispatcher. For one point, name the dispatcher. For the other point, name the actor who played him. Don't yet. Okay. All right. And we got,
Give me a second.
What is it, Stacey?
It's a 6 on the die, isn't it?
Oh, very funny. It's hard to see. Yes.
well, now I can die happy.
Oh, you go.
Okay. All right. I guess I was on a roll. So I'm going to read the question one more time. 1978, debuting on ABC Tonight was Taxi, a groundbreaking sitcom focusing on New York City taxi drivers and their abusive dispatcher. For one point, name the character. For the second point, name the actor.
I think it's...
Facebook doesn't recognize this program as English.
No, Facebook wants me to convert to English. I'm not speaking Spanish or truly.
Facebook wanted me to convert to Judaism. I was like, too late. So Leslie Hoban Blake, we're gonna ask you this question from 1978 about TV's Taxi. Can you name the abusive?
We have yeah.
Very quiet.
It's correct. You got it right.
You got it right. So even Joyce knows this one. Do you, Leslie?
I know half of it.
Oh.
Danny DeVito played the character, but I can't remember his name.
So Leslie, do you want to take you won't lose points for guessing a name.
I have nothing is coming at all. There's a blank hole there.
All right, we get to roll the dice now. You don't have to wave your things.
You rolled already. I saw.
Oh, no. Oh, that's evil. That's just no.
My evil sister.
Pinocchio.
Is that your evil twin sister? That's the way.
Yeah.
That's it, my evil twin sister.
So we rolled again. The number came up number 2, which means I have to go to the bathroom very quickly, which means that Leslie
It
would
goes
have
back
been.
to me, so
Yeah,
that
roll
doesn't
again.
help. So.
The
So then
number
who does it?
is 4. The number 4. So the question
That's us.
is Cynthia and Jeff. And can you tell me the answer of
Well, Jeff
who
can, I'm sure.
the abusive
Louis De Palma.
Thank you.
Louis
It would
De
not come
Palma.
no matter where I tried in my head. Thank you. I wouldn't have slept tonight if I didn't know the answer.
They get 1 point. Leslie gets 1 point also. All right, so we've got sort of like Leslie 9, Cynthia and Jeff.
I can name all the other characters on this.
Nah.
I mean, not the characters, but the actors. Well,
Can
I
you
mean,
sing the theme
Judd
song?
Hirsch. Judd Hirsch was the, and I don't know his character's name either, but he was.
Alex
the-
Rieger. Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead.
Alex Rieger.
Elaine Nardo. Who else? And who was Jeff Conaway? Lotka Gravis, of course. And
Would you like to do it?
And Lotka's girlfriend.
Lotka.
was
Bobby
played
Wheeler.
by-
Bobby Wheeler. Yes, very good.
Oh.
Her name was Nardo. It was Mary Lou Henner. Yeah. All right.
And Lotka's girlfriend was played by Carol Kane.
But what was her name? Simca.
didn't
Simca
realize
Gravis.
Simca Lotka.
Is it Carol King?
Carol Kane.
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 Carol
Kane. Kane. We're back to the beginning of the show now. You see the way that comes around?
Sugar.
Kane. We're ending with Kane.
All right. So
That was good.
now you just please remind me and be honest. Who was the person who? So that was Leslie's question.
I
Right, she
got
half.
half of it.
Right. So that means that our next going clockwise on my
Oh,
screen
yeah.
means Stacy and Shy get the next
Is
question.
Shy going to sit now? I see you moving over. Shy's coming into the picture.
Oh, look, he's giving us a hand.
He's just doing jazz hands and thumbs. Come on.
Or he's giving us a thumb thing in the way he
Is
moves.
Shy not dressed or something?
Well, let him
but
get
within
on
our
screen,
audience,
we'll
they're gonna
find
crowd on
out.
the screen. Here we go, yeah.
Men's a
No,
man.
he's still not coming on. He's still.
Wearing a
I don't
shirt.
have any pants on, so you know.
Who does?
And you're riding the bicycle, Leslie? Where
Leslie,
is
who
this?
does?
I have, you know, I have enough to sit on the seat. That's all you need.
If Shy comes on, he gets an under 5, so we have to be very, very careful there.
Or his underpants, is that?
Well, as long as he's brief. But you know, in the clearing stands his boxers. These are playing. Anyway, let's.
Just be brief, David. Please just be brief.
We should. All right.
You gotta stop now. Stop. Somebody stop me, please.
All right. Here we go. Stop me, please. Start me with the next question, which is going.
He's on a streak. That was good.
He's streaking around the room. There he goes. All right. Here we
On a
go.
streak. Get it?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. 1984.
My bear likes your puppies. You have 2 of them.
Oh, look at
Well, we
that.
have 3.
2 dogs. Oh,
No, Stacy, that's not a 3. That's a 6.
moment of dog.
That's a 3.
Hold them. Let's just take a break from the game for 1 moment and hold the dogs.
And admire the puppies. Give us their names.
Dogs. Jeff, hold it. There's something called a camera lens, and we can. Oh, look at him.
Oh.
What are their names? Liz?
Marlin was the one that we got from the rescue, and while we were there, they begged us to foster this one because they couldn't bear to put him back in a cage. So we took him home, and we called him our buy one, get one. And so
He's Bogo.
his name is Bogey.
Oh, I love
We have
that.
Marlin and Bogey, and people always think it has something to do with actors.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't. And then I went to visit the shelter one day, and there was this cute, tiny little fluffy. Anyway, I took him home against my family's wishes, and he's called Baby, only he's now the biggest one.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah,
What breeder? It's one of those shelter breeds.
He's half poodle, half Jack Russell.
oh, he's so
Ah.
cute.
And this one is something small.
I think Chihuahua and Jack Russell.
And by the way, as she said, even though he's not named for the movie star, it's just what Sheba calls him. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Hey,
I'm
hey,
sorry.
Dave, I was a road company, Lauren McCall. Don't you take her name in vain. She supported me very well for several years.
So you knew. Well, all right. Tell us one quick Because at 11:30, this has to be over because
I went on the road with applause when I was a girl. I went on the road with applause. I played the lead because I was tall and I had a very deep voice, so I had a presence, and so I could play a lot older, even though I was younger. End of story. And I didn't have a voice. And I didn't have a voice, so it was a perfect storm there. You know, she sang in the key of da. That was her key. You know? Everything was written in the key of nothing.
But
So,
still, wow.
well, years later, I interviewed Charles Strauss, who wrote the play, and he was laughing about her inability to sing, and nobody cared. Nobody cared.
No, nobody cared, of course, but no, it's just pissing me off because I had Robert Viagas on this program, my old boss, at Playbill, on the show, and he was saying the best interview we ever had was with Charles Strauss. You're saying
he's a lovely interview.
He's lovely. The fucker turned me down for this show. I mean, he's 92, but he turned me down. Because he had put up a video.
Well, you know, the difference is he didn't have to be on camera when I interviewed him, and probably not when Robert interviewed him either.
Audio interviews. Charles friggin' Strauss. I would have, you know, I would put.
I'm telling you what I think it is. We all have our vanities. I think that's one of his. Okay.
I have a vanity and a chest of drawers. You know.
We keep setting him up. I don't know how.
Somebody get a drum. Somebody get a drum or a cymbal quickly. We're missing all of these. But
purely
we're just missing them, right?
We've got one more.
We should all do that.
I think it's my turn.
Visual.
All right, here we go.
No, it's my turn, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it's my turn. Stop stealing.
And Shy's turn again. Yes, it is.
I thought you just went.
The year.
No, I'm just listening.
You've just been very good and listening good. We got a dog break. Remember?
Oh, okay.
1984 is the year. Okay, for Stacey and Shy. This baseball pitcher with number 16 on his jersey was only 19 years old when he set the record for strikeouts by a rookie, 251. Can you name him? Don't say it yet if you're thinking about it. And I will say the question again. Yeah, of course. I know why that hand is waving. 1984. This baseball pitcher with number 16 on his jersey was only 19 when he set the record for strikeouts by a rookie, 251 of them. Can you name him? Give it a moment. You're looking kind of blank. So that will to our viewers at home who might want to type in some potential answers, and we'll give it a moment or two. But not too many moments. So
I'm not telling.
I think it's extra.
And Stacey, do we have an answer to this baseball?
Our guess is Nolan Ryan.
The guess is Nolan Ryan. That's a really good guess. But it's the wrong answer. It is not Nolan Ryan. Great guess. Now we get the steal time. Is it going to be Leslie or Cynthia? I'm going to roll the magical dice, which means I have to keep getting back into Google Chrome. Roll again. And the number that came
Leslie
is number 6. Number 6.
Do we get another guess?
Yeah.
No, you don't get another guess.
I don't like this game.
I know. It's too bad.
The number that came up, I rolled again, is number 3. Number 3. So 3.
Go ahead, Sin, steal it. And then slide home.
That was good.
Thank you.
Very good. That was. I don't know what you based that on.
The answer was
Dwight Gooden.
The answer was indeed Dwight Doc Gooden of the New York.
I should have known that in a million years.
that was a Dwight Gooden story.
What's your Dwight?
Tell your story.
I think he worked for a lawyer.
Can't hear him. We can't hear him.
He worked for an attorney about 10 or 11 years ago. I'm screaming almost.
No, shout, Jeff.
Jeff worked for a lawyer about 10 years ago, and Dwight Gooden was one of the clients of the firm. And he actually signed a Mets jersey for me.
Wow. Wow,
That's the story.
Did you put it in a frame? Is it under glass at least?
I didn't hear you.
Did you put it in a frame? Is it under glass at least?
No, not yet.
No, we're gonna frame it, but it's not good enough.
It's wrapped in
Right, it's good enough where it is.
But that's really good.
Yeah,
That was
really great.
really good.
This is like Shy getting a Godzilla question. I think
I know,
something's
I
going
know.
on here.
You don't
I mean,
realize,
unless you got a theater
you watch these guys on
question,
TV all the time. You don't
By sure.
realize just how big he
Dear
is.
God,
He was
okay.
enormous.
What
He came into my office to meet me, and he shook his hand. Goes, "Hi, I'm Dwight Gooden." Really. And he's just giant. He shook my hand, and it was like he just swallowed my hand.
he doesn't
It's
seem that
enormous.
big. He really he
Yeah,
does.
on TV you can't tell
All players,
because they're next to each other.
all about 6 feet or over. A small player is 5'10".
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean,
It's
compared to me,
huge,
everybody's
absolutely
But
huge.
when you met Troy Gooden, did he offer you like cocaine or anything? Did you do
No,
anything?
no, he was there for business only.
Oh, all right.
He was there for legitimate stuff.
So there's no need for a tiebreaker, but I'm going to ask it, and because Leslie,
lost track of counting. So.
well, Leslie is one.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Shy.
Hey,
Hi.
Shy.
Hi.
Shy was just being shy this morning. I don't
You got
know.
dressed.
Well done,
Yeah,
Shy.
yeah. It took me forever to find this shirt.
We should have a work focusing on clothing. It's a basic,
Well, it depends. If like he was in a scuba suit, I'd be like, yeah, that really took some doing. But by the way, Shy, I mentioned it before. Whether you heard or not, we got a chance to watch a couple of your videos, but especially that racism one is hilarious on your channel, it's called Shyaporn is the YouTube channel.
Yes, that is correct.
And tell people a little more about the videos that are on there. Because really,
It's mostly like comedy sketches. I do movie summaries in 60 seconds. I have one video where I do 500 impressions in 2 minutes. And then the occasional bits of social comedy, like I think you're referring to the How to Stop Racism video.
that was great. That was absolutely really. It's smart and it's funny, and I'm really impressed, especially for like an Asian person. You're really funny. I think that's really.
No, I drive pretty well too. You might want to watch that video again.
Do I really? Yeah.
That was good. That was really good.
He's gonna come drive over and get you, but it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, but Shy, but no, it's great to have you playing the game, and it's really, you actually have quite a talent. So, and I saw you.
I wondered, Shy, if you got to see Soft Power, David Henry Wang's play. I wonder if you have any opinion on that.
No, I didn't get a chance to see that, sadly.
Oh.
But you can also see Shy, by the way. I assume it's real. You were in a scene in Star Trek, not like the first movie series, or was that fake or was that real? The scene you were in?
The longest running Star Trek fan series was called Star Trek New Voyages, and these super fans, this Elvis impersonator and super fan in upstate New York, built a perfect replica of the 1967 Desilu sets from the original Star Trek series. And he and his friends started shooting new episodes of the original series. He would play Kirk, sometimes with his Elvis sideburns. And it was just a lot of love and care. And he's this caretaker and historian for the franchise. So they invited me later on to play Sulu in some of the episodes. But they've actually had George Takei and Walter Koenig and Michelle Nichols be on the show, and they have writers from the original show who participated.
Whoa, dude, that's great. Yeah. And I was kind of shocked because I remember, it didn't look quite like one of the movies, even the remake J.J. Abrams things. It just looked sort of like.
Can we find the whole thing somewhere, Shy?
What?
Yeah, they're all online.
YouTube.
Like Star Trek New Voyages, if you check that up on
I'll look it
YouTube,
up.
you'll find them. And they've since converted the sets to a set tour museum. So if you go up to Ticonderoga, New York, you can go up to the Star Trek original series.
I'm there as soon as I can get a car.
It's pretty magical, I gotta say. Like walking through the corridors of the Enterprise is amazing.
All right, we essentially, Leslie, congratulations, you've won the quiz. But I'm going to throw one more question out there since I took the time to write it. So I don't know. I'm just going to throw this out to whoever wants to answer.
Is it my turn or is it somebody else's turn?
I do want to answer the sports. Wait.
Give somebody else a chance, Leslie.
It was. I just want to know.
I go after Stacey.
No, you don't. I'm in the middle. So Stacey just went. You got the point. So it is me. I'm in the middle.
No, I got it as a pickup question.
Isn't this just a toss-up question?
Stacey it was you, me, Stacey. Yes,
Toss-up
I remember I was a sandwich. At the beginning
Okay,
of the
folks.
show.
No, I
Let's
kept
do
doing
this
everything.
democratically. I'm going to roll the dice, and whoever comes,
Okay.
keep your numbers from before. No, the 6 die does not work.
I don't know why you're wanting a picture of Swiss
Ask
cheese.
David Stewart who goes next.
Here we go. I'm rolling again.
Pinocchio.
The question goes to number 1, which is Leslie. Anyway, so Leslie, you get this question first.
Yeah.
But I was next.
I used to like her.
Great thing about Leslie, she's just
Oh,
very straightforward.
Stacey.
You know, I'll just
I don't get one Karen Yanya out of the whole show. We've been doing this now for weeks. Just one.
1966. Oh, sorry. 86. 1986 was the year. Released today is David Lynch's best-known film, Blue Velvet. Which of the following is not another David Lynch movie? This is a multiple choice. Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire, The Elephant Man, The Royal Tenenbaums.
The Royal Tenenbaums.
Wow! Don't even
You didn't let the audience answer, huh?
extra no points though. Who directed Royal Tenenbaums?
Oh.
Wes Anderson.
Wow! Well done.
I thought you were only asking
Well,
baseball questions.
Well,
It would have been nice.
I thought you were only asking baseball questions, not softball questions.
oh! Was that one too easy? I thought it was kind of a little trickier.
Viewer.
All right, here's our bonus question. I'm just going to throw this out to the first person who says the letter. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
It's another
B.
choice. 1992 was the year. Mae Jemison made history today by being the first black. Oh, we know. So they don't. Cynthia and Jeff don't seem to know this one, but
I need
Somebody
what
else. I know
are the
the answer.
letters?
We know the answer.
and they already know it. Mae Jemison is her name. 1992 was the year. First black woman to do what? So I see hands.
Give
I'm
the,
gonna go,
Give it to them. It's okay.
what are the choices?
well, all right, I'll read.
No, we know the answer. Come
Yeah,
on.
I don't care.
Yeah, read the multiple choice.
Wow.
You went to the trouble of writing it.
The
I'm having
choices are.
PTSD, Sin, from my childhood. Stop
Oh,
it.
shush. I haven't put you on a sled in years.
Standing up.
Down a hill, but okay.
Oh, look, David's here.
I've got the whole video in my head right now, just so you know.
We have it on film.
I can visualize it. I'm very good at this.
All right. Actually, I've got 2 minutes before we've got our next guest.
Can we answer?
But
Yes,
Give
it's
me
a
the
story.
choices.
Shai and Stacey, what is the answer? Who was Mae Jemison? What'd she do?
She's an actress. What is it?
Astronaut.
Yes.
She's an
but no.
astronaut.
Yes.
That is the answer. She
Ken
went
was
to
saying she
space.
was an actress. She wasn't.
First
Oh.
black woman in
I
space.
figured it was another.
Yeah, we
Question.
spoke. we
And all
both
the
spoke
aliens
at
were
this-
like, oh, there goes the neighborhood. But you know, that's racist. Yes, it is.
Who's your next guest?
Well,
we
so what?
met her at the
Dave, who's your
Smithsonian.
next guest?
Thanks for asking. But hold on, Shai, you said you met Mae Jemison?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both speaking at the Smithsonian. I was doing a lecture on Godzilla biology, and she was talking about having gone into space. So, you know,
Ow.
about the same level.
Godzilla biology?
Yeah, that's one of the things I do, apparently.
Wait,
He
what?
has a Godzilla show.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
no.
Why is she laughing?
The band
I
likes
have
it.
a story that goes with that. I'm just like, wow. Okay.
I
More
went to
interesting than
see
Lord
it.
of
You also
Dragons.
met
Oh,
who
sorry.
else was there? Wasn't
Wait, what?
Star Trek?
Anyway, he is and also Mae Jemison was a transporter chief on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
She was a transporter chief on Star Trek:
Oh.
Next Generation.
Oh.
Oh, so she was an actress also, or did
I
they-
It was a
I knew
cameo
Star
because
Trek
she
you
was
yeah,
because she was an
Wasn't that
astronaut.
far
So.
off.
got it. Yeah.
My answer wasn't outer space.
Oh.
Oh, boo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we congratulate Leslie Hoban Blake on her
Again.
mighty victory.
No, I didn't win last
That's
week.
true.
I
That's
didn't
true.
even come. I didn't get anything last week. I don't think.
See, you came
I
back.
think I got a big zero. I was against
No.
5 people last week. Okay, 5.
11:30 in the morning Eastern time in the Daverhood. Let me thank very quickly because we've got to get to our guest Troy Coverdale, who's hovering in the wings. So Leslie Hoban Blake, Two on the Aisle is or was the show, but you're working on a new show with Charlie on the web.
Well,
What?
yeah, Charlie has a show called Critic Circle. I think I'm doing something different, but that's okay.
Oh, fair enough. But anyway, Leslie,
Charlie's show will be there.
My cousins, Cynthia and Jeff, thank you every week for tuning in. I think it's great. Give our regards to my other cousin, Lauren, who's doing Jewish holiday stuff, even though
No, she's sleeping.
Yes,
Oh,
happy
really?
Rosh Hashanah, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too. And to Shy, well, no, happy Rosh Hashanah to Shy.
Oh, this is Stacey.
And Stacey. Well, I'm saying
Can't
she's
get my-
Jewish or not. You're bifurcating. She would celebrate the apples and the honey in the Rosh Hashanah, and you would have, I don't know, what?
You know that Chabad is sending out Rosh Hashanah in a box to people during the pandemic.
That's
Aw.
wonderful.
I saw a whole thing on it.
But I don't know, does Thailand have their own New Year's?
Right, yeah.
Thailand celebrates every holiday on the face of the planet just as an excuse to celebrate it.
Plus Godzilla Day, which is something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a Christmas tree outside the Central Mall that sits there until April. They just like an excuse to party, really.
All right, I'm down for a culture like that. And I'm certainly down for all of you being part of the culture of the Daverhood. It's just a wonderful. I hope you can all come back next week. It'd be really great to see you. Let me know. I'll shoot this email. But I've got to go because we've got to bring Rabbi Saul Solomon into the Daverhood for his interview with Troy Coverdale of KFKA Radio. Have a great one, guys. Happy New Year.
Bye, Dave. Bye, Leslie. Bye, Bear.
Happy New Year. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Bye, sister. Bye, Shy.
Remove.
Say goodbye to Derek. He'll feel
Bye,
bad.
Leslie.
Bye.
Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Removing.
Bye-bye.
And bye-bye to you, to Leslie. We are here for the Dave's Gone By show. Rabbi Saul coming at you in just a moment. Bye. Thank you, my dresser. Thank you so much. Oy, shalom, shalom. My glasses. I need my glasses. I can't see anything. Oh, God. I'm constipated. Not good. Hold on. Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Saul Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I'm so delighted to be able to bring to you a new friend of the neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, a sports person. Let's get that sound effect going. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, listen to the crowd go wild. How do I stop it? I can't stop it. Hold on. Where the hell is it? All right, shut up. There we go. The crowd goes wild, ladies and gentlemen. Personally, I prefer Girls Gone Wild, but this will do. We are playing that crowd sound effect, as actually professional sports is playing that crowd sound effect now. Oh, you look at this. The man is such a sports nut that he's watching college football behind me. Can you turn that shit off so I can actually talk to you and not be distracted by a bunch of people running around? Thank you. We're just doing a little video show here. Don't mind us. But the person who just turned off that screen is Troy Coverdale. Now, Troy is a man who has spent the last 18 years calling the plays for both the football games and the basketball games from the University of Northern Colorado, the Bears, on KFKA Radio. And we want to celebrate that this week, not because 18 is high, it's a wonderful number for Jewish people, but because Troy got shit-canned this week by the station because of COVID. So first of all, condolences to you, Troy. I'm sure you're going to bounce back, but how are you? How you doing?
You know, it's been a crazy couple of months, I will put it that way. And really, when you go all the way back to the tail end of March, when come off of a Big Sky Conference tournament that didn't take place and find myself in quarantine, if you will, and never got to go back into my own office other than to clean it out to finish up the stint. But, I keep reminding myself, and my wife keeps reminding herself, we're in this for a reason. Things are going on for reasons that we don't know yet, and we'll do our best, and we're going to try and look to the best of it, that it gives us an opportunity to maybe get back closer to family.
Wow, that is such a goyish thing to say. I can't believe it. But here's a question for you. So what I don't understand is that all right, there's no games going on. I get this. There's nothing to call. And then I think rightfully, we might disagree on this, that they canceled at least the fall seasons for the university. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you're both the sports director and the news director for this radio station. So what, they don't need a news person? Why the hell weren't you fulfilling other roles besides calling football games? What's the deal?
Unfortunately, what they've run into is a budget issue. And it strictly comes down to the fact that there was an overemphasis placed on sporting events, and specifically on high school sports in terms of the station. Well, high school sports haven't taken place since that same weekend in March that I came back from the Big Sky tournament. You've seen here in Colorado where softball is being played, golf is being played cross country. But as of right now, and this could change in a few days again, because CHSAA and Governor Polis are talking again about trying to get football up and running. But you take away football specifically, but you had no baseball season for the preps. The American Legion baseball season was severely limited because of COVID, and now no football season. And the station is unfortunately is having a tight time financially because of that. And unfortunately, I made for an easy target.
Station gets paid by the schools to run these things, and that's why they're not getting the money they have? Or?
No, the advertising. It's just out and out the advertising. Without the games to broadcast, you don't have the advertisements to be played either.
But they're running all this syndicated right-wing stuff from the Fox News kinds of people. Aren't they getting a ton from that, where people don't really...
Well, and let me correct that, because the station over the past few years has shifted to more of, during the day especially, a sports feel. Dan Patrick, Colin Cowherd, middays are a local sports talk show. Now, so I will state that up front. But radio as a whole right now, especially when you want to talk about AM and talk radio, are really hurting from this virus and the things that it has brought on through the course of it. This week, Entercom, as an example, major corporate entity, cut a number of positions nationwide on its alternative and country stations because it has such a debt load that they're having to try and pay off with what have become declining ad revenues. And so it's easier for them to bring in someone to do a national midday show, for example, on a country station or a group of country stations, than it is to have individual shows on all of those country stations nationwide. And that's unfortunately one of the realities in our business right now, is that advertising dollars are on the decline. The longer that this continues, that this economy continues the way it is, the more difficult it is for stations to continue operating. In KFKA's case, they're owned by a family. They are a single entity. The AM is the only station that this family owns. There is no FM to it, though they are working on trying to get a FM translator in place. But you're also limited by time frame because of the FCC. You have to have it running within 18 months of getting that license. And that costs money. And so, unfortunately, like I said, I wound up being an easy target because of what I was being paid, even though, by all rights, it wasn't all that much.
It's radio money. It's not buying you a yacht.
Correct.
So But let's get back happier times, shall we say, to
Sure.
your getting started in broadcasting. Was it something that you knew right from like grade school or high school, and you knew, you had the voice, you had the presence? It's like, yep, I belong doing this, or did you more like stumble into it?
I had an urge to do it by the time that I was a junior in high school. I had started to plan towards that, and in fact was reminded by one of my high school teachers this week that I had boldly proclaimed that I wanted to be the voice of the Kansas State Wildcats. And I went on to school at Kansas State and got my degree in broadcast journalism. So I had the intent coming out of school, and got involved very quickly once I got to college, involved in student radio and involved in calling games, as at the time the student station at K-State was the voice for the local high school on top of what it was doing. With a K-State schedule, though, there were some legal things that they had to deal with to not interfere with what the rights contract was for the commercial network that was running. But it allowed me a great opportunity to find out the things that I wanted to do in radio. And I've had the bug for a long time. And, this right now would have been the start for year 31 in the broadcast business, and dating back to my 18th birthday, which was my first day on air and my first day of classes at Kansas State. Wow. So it has been quite a run. And
well, it's not over yet. I mean, you might have to take a break from that, but are you getting LinkedIn messages from people? Are you getting leads? Or are you just going to sit this out until the COVID thing for a couple of months, and then offers and possibilities will happen? Or are you just moving to Kansas?
And networking is in place, and there are some things that are potentially in the works that aren't necessarily broadcast immediately, but are things that can help set me up for being in the right spot when situations take place. Luckily, again, I've been at this for so long that my network is built pretty good, and I'm blessed in that area. And
but the thing is, you, unlike a lot of people in your position, you have stability. Because most people who really get into the radio business, they're 1 year at this station, and they have to pack up and move, and they're 5 years here, and then 3 years there, and then when they're lucky, they get into a major market on a 50,000 watt. You stable. You got to Colorado. Yeah, you sat down. You made the deal with KFKA, and boom, 18 years. That's a career in itself, quite honestly. So it's great that you've been able to network outside the spine of Northern Colorado, I got to tell you.
One of the things that's funny about that is that the stations that I worked for when I first came out of college, I worked for 6 years there and thought, boy, that's a pretty good stint. That's a pretty lengthy stint in the world of radio before I moved on. Little did I know that it would be an 18-year stint here that I would wind up in. And I will be perfectly honest. It's not that I haven't looked at other opportunities. They just haven't presented themselves right over time. And, that's the nature of the beast. I sure as heck wasn't giving up a Division I gig. And because there's only 300 some odd of those in the country. But now, we'll see what comes next.
Well, let me ask, we want to remind people that Troy Coverdale was calling games, basketball and football, for the University of Northern Colorado Bears. So all their teams are called the Bears. Doesn't matter what sport they play. They have a chess team. It's the Cubs. But everybody else is the Bears. But let me ask you, do you remember the first game you called for UNC, for KFKA?
Oh, boy. I don't recall the first game immediately off the top of my head. It was such a whirlwind of a time because I moved to Greeley in November of 2002, right after Thanksgiving. We went the month of December without covering UNC at that point, just so I could get up to speed on everything. And so it was January when we picked up doing UNC basketball, really right at the start of the North Central Conference season, as that was the last year that men's and women's basketball was playing at the Division II level. So I remember more of a couple of the road trips that I do, even of what that first game was out of the box, because it was such a quick turnaround in terms of getting up to speed and getting on the road. I always tease one friend who's a sports information person that works for the Ohio Valley Conference. He was the assistant SID at UNC when I took the job and had just gotten into that role himself. We go to find ourselves in Fargo and Brookings to close out the regular season basketball-wise, and had to deal with just downright cold, snowy conditions.
In Fargo, North Dakota? I would never guess.
Yeah.
I would, Fargo in January. Lovely.
But what made it even funnier is, well, Kyle is a guy from Kentucky, had not seen that much snow in his life, and had to have an added few days on the road then to go to Grand Forks because the women's basketball team had to play a first-round tournament game in Grand Forks against the University of North Dakota. And I swear to God, he was cursing that entire trip for the rest of his tenure at UNC.
At some point, everybody starts cursing UNC for one reason or another. He just started early. Let me tell you. But what are one or two of the most memorable games that you covered for the university?
Well,
or for the radio station covering the university.
There are a lot of performances that will always stand out, but game-wise, you have to put the victory over Montana in the Big Sky Conference tournament in 2011 as the biggest, because that gave the school its first ever NCAA tournament berth, and the Bears would go the next week and play San Diego State, and Kawhi Leonard, who helped power them into the Sweet 16 that year. UNC made it an interesting game. They never really truly got blown out in that contest, but the conference tournament championship was a lot of fun because it was in Greeley. It was on our home floor, and it was the culmination really of a 4-year stretch where Tad Boyle had laid the groundwork as head coach, and BJ Hill had been his top assistant. BJ was head coach then for that first year, the year that they make the tournament. And when you go through
actually, like most, I will say that like most men, Jack Hill was lucky to have a BJ with him. But you know, please continue. Yes.
The key point of that is that they went from a team that won only 4 games in Coach Boyle's first season to one that made the NCAA tournament in just 4 years. And that's the type of turnaround that you want to see, that you love to talk about. And those guys were still in the system. Those guys were the guys that had been the ones that suffered through the 4-win season.
Well, here that's what brings me to my next question, because we are talking about the University of Northern Colorado, and for the past decade, I mean, you know, it's a kind of school where the students in the stands will be jumping up and down. We're not blown out. We're not blown out. I mean, especially the football team has just sucked dirt for year after year. They tried one coach, they tried another coach for a bunch of years. And so as a sportscaster, how nice do you have to be? Because the bills are sort of paid by the university. So you have to kind of make nice, but at the same time, how honest can you be on the air when you're looking at something that should be flushed?
You can be honest enough to note where weaknesses are and where, okay, we don't have the personnel to keep up with in a situation, or honest enough that, you know, on an individual play, you can just point out, okay, this didn't work because. You can be that nice. You have to remember that you're also talking to not just fans, but you're also talking to families. Yes. And the first priority is to remember that these are student athletes. They are kids. They are not adults. And it's not their fault that they aren't put in the greatest situations. We'll leave it at that.
No, you don't want to tell
by whether it's administration, whether it's coaching, whether it's those things, the student athletes aren't always to fault. And in many ways, it's more on the outside influences than it is on the student athletes themselves.
Right. I mean, they choose to play and they choose to take the scholarships that come with it. So on some level, it's on them a little bit too. But if they're not in the right school for them, if they should be playing peewee football, against high schoolers and not up against, I don't know, I forget the teams that are in the Big Sky, whatever the hell it's called. But you can't, sure, you don't tell a parent, for your son, for a football player, he'd make a great backgammon player. I mean, it's just like, no, you got to be sort of nice. Yeah.
You also have to remember that such is recruiting, and that's where it falls on the coaches as well in how they analyze players and how they look at players and how they want to piece together a program or even the type of player that they're looking for to fit a scheme. That's one of the things that we talk about in sports. We talk an awful lot about how teams at the professional level are built by the draft. Well, recruiting is that for college football, college basketball. And if you're not doing the right things in recruiting and you aren't able to get the caliber of player that you need, and it is a complete crapshoot, let's be perfectly honest, because things change. And you're talking about kids that are 18 to 22 years old in most cases. Lives change dramatically during that time frame, and bodies change dramatically during that time frame, and so it really can be a crapshoot. And if you have, even in the case of, say you wind up where maybe you guess on 5 players. Well, at the level that UNC is playing at, the FCS level for football, you only have 63 scholarships. 5 players in a class makes a difference. It really does. And if you whiff on those 5 players, you can very easily have your recruiting class come up well short, and that sticks with your program.
Well, here's the other thing, though, that even though a couple of years ago UNC had what seemed to be really minor violations in terms of recruitment and things like that, how is a school supposed to get by when other schools are just throwing whores and cars and a year's supply of kosher food at these athletes and saying, "Oh, come to our school"? It's all under the table and wink, wink. Uh-oh. Hello. Shalom. Shalom. Oh, Troy. Troy. We seem to have
Rabbi Chatham.
I'm going to chat him here because.
Then what?
Oh, hello. You froze
Hi
there
there.
for a minute. You're back in Fargo, North Dakota. Now have you thrown down? Are you warm?
Thank you. Yes. The thing to remember with that caliber of program that you're talking about, the ones that are able to recruit the Zion Williamsons, for example, in basketball, that's because they're at the level that they are. They're in those Power 5 conferences. They're the major programs. UNC is not going to be able to ever recruit that type of a player. One of the things that is going to continue to be something to watch is going to be the name and likeness legislation that is starting to be discussed at the national level. And it's basically it amounts to royalties for student athletes. And how will schools like UNC be able to maintain and pay that type of money for their student athletes versus what another school, say, let's just say CSU as an example even, because it's not a major difference in terms of the school, in terms of the personnel. It's a difference in terms of their conference. It's a difference in terms of some of the funding that comes in at CSU. So even there, how is UNC going to be able to compete with Colorado State when it comes to
paying,
promising? Yeah, because Colorado State, they've got how many games that do show up on TV? UNC's case, the bulk of their basketball season winds up on streaming TV only, streaming video only. So there's a lot of those things that are going to be very interesting to watch. College athletics coming off of this pandemic is going to be faced with a lot of questions, and there's a ton of uncertainty going into it.
there's a question, I mean, even before the pandemic, the idea of paying student athletes, because, you know, there's some schools, not UNC, make millions on the sports, you know, Friday Night Lights and all of that. I mean, that's just high school, but you know, and the athletes feel, hey, we're playing, and yes, we get scholarships and some food, but you know, they're making bazillions off of us in our prime years. We want to cut. Do you agree with that? Do you think that should be a thing?
I do. There should be a way to be able to make that system fair, because all you're looking at that money doing for the major programs is just continue an arms race, if you will, in terms of facilities, in terms of the varying things that they are able to then turn around and say, hey, we provide this for this program. While UNC is a great example, they renovated an old football stadium to turn it into a soccer stadium. And that took some doing. And you know, all the credit in the world for being proactive to go about it that way, and they turned it into a nice facility, but it's not going to be what Colorado has for a soccer facility over here in Boulder. And the big part of that is then on top of it, those big athletic departments spending that money, and they'll say it's on the student athletes, they'll say it's because of the student athletes. All of those athletic departments are one key thing: nonprofit. All of their money has to be sewn back into their specific entity, if you will, so that they can maintain that nonprofit status. And so that's why it becomes a facilities race, and it becomes so overwhelmingly split between a school like a UNC versus a school like a North Carolina.
Wow. Well, or you just make all the athletes shareholders or something, or put them on the directors. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that could be done there. And like I said, you know, the interesting thing about not just even the pandemic, but even what we've seen this summer with the protests and Black Lives Matter movement, when you look at what college student athletes have been able to do already through this pandemic in terms of ensuring that they don't have to sign waivers and be forced to have to play during the midst of COVID. When you see some of those type of movements taking place, shoot, let's just talk about Alabama marching to the school where George Wallace on the steps talked about, you know, that there would never be a black student at Alabama. And they were led by their coach in Nick Saban in that march, but it was the student athletes who put that together. They wanted Saban to lead it, but the student athletes are recognizing more and more their power, that they do have a say in what's going on, that they do have a say in bringing about change at the collegiate level. And that's going to be something that is going to be, I think, a positive going forward, but everybody's going to be really having to watch and see what plays out and how conferences and how schools decide to handle that going forward.
We're talking with Troy Coverdale, the sportscaster, for many, many years, the news director and sports director for KFKA AM radio in northern Colorado. Right now, he's looking for other opportunities. Have you started a podcast yet? Away from that?
No, I haven't started a podcast yet, but I that's probably going to be in the offing here not too long in the future. I'm catching up on a few other things right now that had fallen off the schedule, if you will, because of what travel has been and what everything else has been in terms of my work slate.
Well, you should be doing commercials. You should be doing voice work. You should be doing, and then of course sportscasting. Because I've said that you just have this really terrific voice and presence.
Go ask him, say goal.
Okay, yeah. If you want to do soccer, can you just say goal very, very long? Say, let me hear
you.
Yeah, bigger and longer.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I could do that. Go again. Oh, he froze. God damn it.
You do it, Rabbi.
Go! Damn it. There you go. Well done. Now, Troy, I'm going to leave you up, Troy, because you're frozen momentarily, but I'm hoping it must be UNC server. Let's see. Come on back. There you go. Welcome back to you.
The internet is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
So let me ask you though. I always wonder, and one thing I will miss from listening to, because I'm not going to listen to the damn games if you're not there. There's no point. But who's the guy on KFKA who announces you? Who is that guy with that insane voice? Like, oh, Troy Coverdale. Who is that?
Gentleman goes by the nom de plume David Lee, and he has been doing voiceover work for probably longer than actually that I've been in the business. I actually first heard him doing materials for a classic rock station. It took a long time for me to adjust to the fact that we had him as the station voice here for news
It's
talk.
the weirdest, most strange, deep, echoey, fucked up voice I've ever heard in my. Now, but let me. Is he like a little guy? Does he look like, you know? I would say
No,
thing, but you have no idea who the hell that is. But
no, in actuality, I believe he's about 6'2", and he's a Packers fan.
Yeah. Oh, he's a man mountain case, sounds like it. So,
Yeah.
with all due respect to your voice, this is one of the greatest voices I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Oh, KFKA, damn it. It's like, what a voice. But you have a very fine voice too. And let me ask, as you can see, I am a rabbi, as you can tell by my language and my hat and you know, my pubes and my ears. So let me ask you, you seem to be, in fact, there's one comment, I don't know if you've seen it, in the story about you this past week in the Greeley Tribune, about you were leaving KFKA. And there's one person who wrote in, and it says someone obviously from church, mentioning a pastor. So how goy are you? How religious are you? Catholic? What are you? What's your thing?
Yeah, my wife and I both are Catholic. She went to, in fact, a all-Catholic grade school, middle school. My mother went to an all-Catholic school as well. So we both were raised in the Catholic faith. We've maybe strayed a little here over the last few years for varying reasons. This is the part of it that gets tough when you're doing what I do, and that is dealing with the travel. For basketball season, you fly commercial. So you're not flying home from a Saturday night game until Sunday morning. And so getting back in for Mass is...
Right. Yeah, I get it. You can't go to church on a Sunday morning if you're on a plane. Although if you're the Orthodox Jews, they just get on the Long Island Railroad and stand there in the aisle praying. You might as well. But,
tell them my mom watches Mass on TV.
yeah. And then David's wife Joyce is saying, hey, you know what? You can watch Mass on TV. You can probably go on the plane and watch it on that little screen there, and then have your moment with Joel Osteen or whoever, or Joel Osteenowitz if you're meaning looking for a Jewish person. Yeah. So, but faith is meaningful to you in some way. You believe on some strong core level.
Absolutely.
Why? How do you believe? What do you believe in? How do you feel it?
Well, the honest truth is that I prefer it to be a conversation, and not so much as what we, in terms of Catholics, see as the Mass and how it is structured, but I prefer to have that conversation, and that is, I talk with God just the way that I would talk with you, and approach it that way, because in the end, you want God to be your friend.
If only. See, we Jews, we have an angry, vengeful
Right.
God. When I talk to God, he's like, you son of a bitch, my finger hurts. Why? What's the matter with you? Can't you fix my finger? You're God. Fix it. It's not a good conversation, but we do converse all the time.
There are times right now where that's not exactly far off from what's going on in my life either.
Fair. Is everybody, I should have asked, everybody healthy? You, your wife, do you have kids? I don't know, what's your deal?
We do not have children, but the nice thing about this past weekend, it was Labor Day. We got back to Kansas to see families, and now all of our families are doing fine and have been able to maintain through the course of the virus without any issues. My folks have done a solid job of self-isolating. my wife's family. My wife's mother is in a community where there have been very few cases, and so that has been dramatically helpful as well. But the grandkids have done a nice job of ensuring that if they're back, that they have been taking care of themselves so that they're not bringing it back to grandma's place.
Got it. By the way, you're a little bit out of sync. I don't. It's so funny. You are the professional broadcaster, and we bring you on the air, and it's like half the time you're freezing, and the mouth isn't going. But your voice.
Radio, David. He's on radio.
Yeah, that's true. You're radio. You're not video.
Right.
This is. How did you meet your lovely wife? By the way.
I mentioned that group of stations that I worked for in Northeast Kansas, which, is relatively home. I was based at a place that was 45 minutes from where I grew up, covered my own high school, in fact, as part of that. And she lives in one of the communities where the company had a station, and she was working for them for a summer while back from school, and one thing led to another. And we are now... Yeah, we are now 22 years married.
Make muzzle or make click. It should be 20. It should be 42 more. You should be healthy with that. I do want to ask one or two more questions of our guest.
Sure.
Troy Coverdale, the sportscaster. I'm always curious about this because when you get on the air to call, let's say, a football game, right? And it's not just, well, this is the play that happened. You have to have in your head who the players on your team are, who the players on the other team are, what their respective records are, and how they've done, and who's struggling. Well, I mean, how much preparation do you have to do before a game to call a game, and how much is coming at you from people who are, sitting at a computer giving you statistics and things?
The course of the game, the live stats are on a monitor right in front of you. So you're able to keep track of what's going on your computer throughout the course of that in terms of the specific action. But spotting charts are your friend when you're in this business, especially in doing football, because of the number of personnel changes that go on during the course of that. Preparation for that, my spotting charts usually start to take shape for a Saturday game on Tuesday. And as soon as I can get to putting the lineups together on those charts for football, I dig in and then continue to build them over the course of the next couple of days, adding notes as I go, adding notes as
what
things
kind
come
of notes?
up.
What are you putting for yourself to know?
Well, are there trends? Are there things where this student athlete did such and such the week before? With some of the things that are going on, as we talked about in terms of activism, there might be a story or two that would be thrown into the notes for a specific player. For example, in UNC's case, one of their football players, linebacker this year, when they do get to play next spring, has been named the Big Sky Conference's Student Athlete Advisory Council chair. So he's basically the guy who is helping advise the conference heads and the conference leadership as to what has their student athletes' attention in terms of things relating to the conference. So that's a point that you would bring up in discussion.
And they can know that on Tuesday or Wednesday during the week, and you have it in your head, but you also have literally it in front of you while calling the game, so you could glance at that and glance at and look at the. So when a play is happening, like some sort of quarterback throws the ball, linebacker, whatever stuff happens, are you watching that and calling it, or are you just calling it sort of automatically off the screen telling you what's happening, so you don't have to sort of see who's under the referee with the ball?
Oh, no, I'm calling it directly from my line of sight. And, and that's a big point to bring up, because it's the big adjustment that most of us in this business are faced with right now, at least at college levels and the pros, and that is calling off of a monitor. And in many cases, calling off of a monitor in a community where you're not at the game. A lot of that is taking place. In fact, I know Syracuse, North Carolina, kicking off this morning, Matt Park, who's stellar at Syracuse, he and his crew are actually calling the game off of essentially the TV broadcast as they're in Syracuse, not at Chapel Hill today for the game. And it's an adjustment everybody is stuck making because of the coronavirus restrictions that are in place. And a lot of the companies have looked at it and said, listen, if we can keep you.
Oh, shit. Stay there. You're froze again, so hold on. Hold on, you're frozen. You're very cute, but you're still frozen. You're still standing. By the way, this is Troy Coverdale that you're looking at but not hearing. Well, Rabbi Sal Solomon, listened to him talk about what it is for for sportscasters and announcers to have to call games from watching a TV just like we are at home, rather than looking from the field perspective. I think we have you back.
Yes.
No, good. So please finish your thought, though.
Well, and I mean, it's a challenge that we've seen a little bit of that trend taking place in terms of some of the bigger broadcasters. Even ESPN had started to move some of their basketball teams calling action from monitor at their headquarters rather than going out to a location, and that was even happening in some of the Power 5 conferences as a way to keep some costs low. And so it's been a little trend. It's being hastened a bit now because of coronavirus, but it's going to be, again, something to monitor over the next few years, is just how we cover games and how fans watch games, how does that change because of what coronavirus has prompted changes to be?
I swear to God, we're almost at the point where it'll just be Zoom football. Like you see the quarterback in one square on the screen, the ball leaves his hand, then he suddenly arrives in another panel on your screen. Then the referee in the lower left going up, blowing the whistle. He hands the whistle off to someone with the Gatorade. The Gatorade goes from one to up. It's nuts.
But along those lines, you're going to have people that can handle those cameras and be able to get those shots that are necessary when you're watching it on TV, no doubt.
Very true. So last question for the very talented, obviously very delightful Troy Coverdale is, if you had a dream gig, now that you're out there looking for gigs, what would your dream gig be? Please say female naked volleyball, but other than that.
I better not say that one, but I would love to be able to go back to my alma mater and be the voice at Kansas State, because that's how I caught the bug. Listening to my Wildcats over the years, it's a big part of how I caught the bug. Or I would also love to be one of the voices of the Kansas City Royals for the same reason. But it
baseball, yeah. And what about the Chiefs?
Yeah, I wouldn't turn down an NFL gig, that's for sure, especially if it was one of the national gigs. But, where I grew up, Kansas City had the Chiefs. They were awful. They had the Royals, who were great when I was growing up. It was this way. But we didn't have an NBA team. And college basketball wound up being where the focus was during basketball season. And that's a big part of how we as fans in Kansas anyway have taken in the game over the years. It's why Kansas basketball is so revered there. It's why Kansas State is so respected there. It's what we had rather than there being a pro team in Kansas City.
Wow. Well, I am hoping then that Kansas has you and you have Kansas again, and you get to call the games of your dreams, Troy Coverdale. It just remains for me, first of all, to thank you ever so much for being with us in the Daverhood. This is, wait, I'm going to get the crowd cheering again. Hold on. This is a crowd going absolutely crazy wild for our guest in the Daverhood, Troy Coverdale. By the way, if people, let's say, listening to you, because nobody wants to listen to this voice, but if people want to hear your voice and they're in media, how do they get in touch with you to say, hey, there may be a job for you?
Easiest way is going to be through my website. It's my name, TroyCoverdale.com.
How pissed off do you get at people who mispronounce your last name, Coverdale?
I don't. I grew up with it. people who should have known better because they've known my family for 40, 50 years still get it wrong.
They'll
So
still say covered and covered. So, but what is the derivation? It's like an Englishy thing.
it is. If you go back and do research of the Coverdale Bible, we trace our lineage back to Miles Coverdale, giving it the English.
Yeah, Miles
yes.
Covered. So when the hell did it turn into over?
That we haven't been able to determine. That we're still working on.
Maybe you're mispronouncing it. Maybe you're the wrong one. Maybe it's Coverdale.
Everything gets Americanized.
Well, yeah, or it could be Smith. It's just a lot of letters, but ultimately it's just Smith. But we've been talking with Troy Smith here on Dave's Gone By. Happy years to you. Happy holiday. Well, it's not your holidays, but happy holidays anyway. Good sports, good faith, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Appreciate it.
Oh, listen to that crowd go. There they are. Shalom to you. Bye-bye. Troy Coverdale scores a goal, ladies and gentlemen. 15 points here in the Daverhood with me, Rabbi Sal Solomon. Dave is coming back to finish the Dave's Gone By episode. He's coming out of the locker room. He's refreshed. He'll be right with you. Shalom. Wow. What a crowd, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. They're just going nuts. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Lefkowitz here with the last portion of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream on this Saturday. It is September 12th, 2020. We have done so much. We did our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. We had Greeley Crimes and Old Times, our wonderful Today, Yesterday quiz, and now just this marvelous conversation between Rabbi Sal Solomon and Troy Coverdale. So definitely go check out his website and his LinkedIn stuff. For Rabbi Sal Solomon, remember that you can find out more about him at his website, shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. That is a place where you can read his little sermons, his rabbinical reflections, as well as watch his live, it was live, and now it's recorded, his stage show, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Sal Solomon, and even his TV show, Shalom Dammit, Rabbi Sal Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour. All those links are on shalomdammit.com. You're definitely going to want to check them out. Well, before we check out of here, we have a couple more things to do. We haven't yet gotten to theater. Because, I like sports, but I'm more a theater person at heart. So I don't think we should let this show go without spending a little bit of time going inside Broadway. Oops, I never find this properly. I set that up so well, didn't I? Inside Broadway. Inside Broadway, a look at theater in New York, Colorado, and beyond, brought to you by TotalTheater.com and Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway. Yes, Inside Broadway we go every week here on Dave's Gone By. So let's just give you some Broadway news, because I do care about the theater, even though there's no theater right now to care about. Well, maybe a little bitty bit. All Broadway shows are still officially suspended through January 3rd, which means that that's supposedly the first date when they'll even open up backstage and places for personnel to start working again. And then with the Broadway shows starting in assumedly March or April, although now the scuttlebutt is they may even push that further back, and we might not have any kind of a real Broadway season again until the fall. And I don't mean fall a couple of weeks from now, I mean fall of 2021. We're seeing, vaccine or not, I think it was Fauci who just said that even if they come up with a vaccine, it's going to be months afterwards before enough people have taken it and they're testing it and so forth, that people will feel comfortable, 1,200 of them in a room together and angling for the bathroom and angling for the open, the bar if they're serving food. So it's going to be a while, folks. But things still, they've happened and they change. Big journalism news this week out of the New York Times. Ben Brantley, who has been a theater critic there for 24 years, for many years, the chief theater critic of the New York Times. He's the guy who basically took over after Frank Rich. Ben Brantley stepping down, stepping away. He figured this is the time for new blood there as Broadway and theater and America figure themselves out. So he's leaving. Our friend of the neighborhood, Jesse Green, he is staying, but he's not taking over the sole role. They are actually looking for another critic to step in there. I imagine they're not going to be looking for someone like me. I imagine they're going to look for a person of color and perhaps indeterminate gender and so forth to get with the times, pun intended. But yeah, Brantley, never as flashy, never quite as famous as Frank Rich became, but a very good writer, a very insightful writer, and very true that when he put his columns together, they were really very well thought out and very well written. So it will be a bit of a loss to the New York Times with Ben Brantley leaving that top slot. Well, I told you earlier in the show that our Inside Broadway segment would be, bad news, good news, bad news, good news, not all bad news. So here's some good news. Irish Repertory Theater has come up with a season for the fall. It is completely online, but it is still a season. So at irishrep.org, you will be able to watch for a fee such shows as Belfast Blues, which is a solo for Geraldine Hughes, and it was pretty good as I recall. I saw it a few years ago. There's another show called Give Me Your Hand, which kind of takes a stroll through a London gallery. There's going to be a revival of Eugene O'Neill's A Touch of the Poet, which will feature our friend of the neighborhood, Robert Cuccioli. I missed this when this was in New York. I really wanted to see it. Bill Irwin doing his show on Beckett and in Screen, which is going to be really, really interesting adaptation of his Beckett show that was wildly acclaimed. They're going to do, of course, an adaptation of A Child's Christmas in Wales, specifically for the interwebs, and a reading, a one-night only thing, of a show called Plaguey Hill, a new play featuring Liev Schreiber, who will be starring in that. So it's all going to, Joyce likes him. So you've forgiven him. Joyce had a crush on Liev Schreiber for a long time. And then he married Naomi Watts, and she went completely off him. And then he got off Naomi Watts, and he's still available. So now, so if you had to choose between Liev Schreiber and Idris Elba, who? Alternating days of the week. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, that is the correct answer. Who on the weekend? Oh, she still saves me for the weekend. Yeah, that's right. I do all the chores. So of course she needs me for the weekend. There you go. But yay for Irish Rep for putting, and we're going to see a lot of off-Broadway houses doing this to just keep going and stay alive and hopefully bring some money into the coffers by having seasons, but they're just not in person. And speaking of a personage that the theater and film and TV lost this past week, very, very sad news. Dame Diana Rigg passed away on Thursday from cancer at the age of 82. Speaking of crushes, speaking of people that, on your list of things to do, pun intended, of course, Diana Rigg came to the fore playing Emma Peel in The Avengers, just sassy and sexy as hell. And my Uncle Nay, confirmed bachelor, Uncle Nay, who's been dead now for 35, 40 years. No, that was the thing. You would figure he was confirmed bachelor, which is code word for something like this. But no, he would watch The Avengers, and he had a thing for Emma Peel. Well, who didn't? It was Diana Rigg. She was just, she was everything in that show. She was also James Bond's wife in the George Lazenby one, the On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But let's talk about the theater stuff. She was a theater creature. She made her debut on the London stage in 1957 in The Caucasian Circle, the Bertolt Brecht play. that helped get her into the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company. And she did tons of theater in London. She did a musical. In 1987, she was in Sondheim's Follies, for gosh sakes. On Broadway in New York, not that many credits, but some. 1971, she was in Abelard and Heloise. 1975, she played Selma. I don't really see her as that, but she played Selma in a production of The Misanthrope, Moliere's comedy, which also featured Alec McCallum. And then she won a Tony Award in 1994 for playing the title role in Medea. And then her last show, I can't believe I missed her in this, in 2018, and she was Tony nominated for this. She played Higgins's wife, Mrs. Higgins, in the revival of My Fair Lady that starred Lauren Ambrose and Harry Hatton Payton. I didn't get to see it until the new cast came in with Laura Benanti and a wonderful Rosemary Harris. But I said, oh, I missed Diana Rigg in the role. And TV people, and TV people who love theater, who are of course watching all their theater on TV right now, Rigg did a number of theater related and play-related TV filmings of shows. She did Hedda Gabler. I hate the play, but she was in it. She played Regan in a filmed King Lear, and I saw this many, many years ago. It was absolutely terrific. A little-known Ibsen play called Little Eyolf, where she co-starred with Anthony Hopkins. And I remember it to this day. It's a marvelous production if you get to see it. I think you can find it on YouTube. And she also, in terms of television, I didn't realize she did an American sitcom back in 1973, where they tried to position her as kind of a British Mary Tyler Moore. I tried watching part of the same, it sucked, trust me. I mean, she was fine, but it's a 1973 American sitcom with a laugh track. Kind of sucked. But she was also on Game of Thrones, much more recently, a big, big sad farewell to the wonderful Diana Rigg. And by the way, talking about theater, just want to remind you that if you want to keep tabs on what will be happening on, off, and off Broadway, get yourself a copy of Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. This is the place, page after page, where, you know, table of contents for sure, a map of the Broadway district, all the shows that were playing just when the pandemic hit, shows that are supposed to come back once the pandemic sort of leaves, and then a list of all the Broadway theaters, how many seats they have, where they're located, who owns them. This is real inside information for people who work in the entertainment industry. Day-by-day calendar listings of shows, obviously they're all on hiatus now, but as they come back, when will they start previews, open and close? And this is really, you know, we did this just because there was a call for it, a guide to virtual shows. So yeah, I mean, you're thinking, why do I need a theater magazine when there's no theater? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a guide to dozens and dozens and dozens of shows, most of them free, that you can watch on YouTube and other services, you don't know what they are, you don't want to go searching and looking. This is a list of the URLs and the names and the casts of shows Broadway off and from regional theaters that you can watch at any time just by going to this guide and finding out what the URLs are. Yeah, there it is in the pages of Performing Arts Insider, along with comprehensive listings of all the shows that should, or one hopes, will come back to Broadway when Broadway comes back. It's Performing Arts Insider. It's got an index in the back, which makes everything really, really easy to find. And of course, how to subscribe on the back as well. Plus, you can find out how to subscribe by going to performingartsinsider.com. Performingartsinsider.com. It is not a cheap publication, but the people who get it renew year after year because they know how valuable the information inside is. Performingartsinsider.com for Performing Arts Insider for 75 years now, I think, the Bible of Broadway. Well, we're talking Broadway, we're talking theater, and as I promised again, sad news followed by happy news. So we have a little more sad news. We lost a playwright this past week, Ronald Harwood, who passed away Tuesday at the age of 85, born Ronald Horwitz in Cape Town, South Africa, moved to London to pursue theater, where he was convinced to change his name from Horwitz to Harwood. Gosh, I wonder why. He joined the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. He was in the RSC, where he served under one of the leaders of the RSC and a major actor there, Donald Wolfett, as Wolfett's dresser, the guy who changes his costume in between scenes. Well, that experience served Ronald Harwood very well, because years later he went on to write the play, The Dresser. And you remember the movie with Tom Courtenay and Albert Finney? He's the gay dressing guy of this blustery, egotistical, but on some levels lovable actor. Very good play that was written by Ronald Harwood. He also wrote a bunch of novels, and some other plays of his include After the Lions, which was about Sarah Bernhardt, and a show called Quartet, about 4 aging opera stars, which was adapted into a film that was directed by Dustin Hoffman back in 2012, featuring the aforementioned Tom Courtenay, Maggie Smith, Pauline Collins, and Billy Connolly. It was cute. You might want to give it a look. Harwood also wrote a textbook about the theater called All the World's a Stage, but he might be really best known in Hollywood circles because he wrote the screenplay for The Pianist, which was an Oscar, at the very least Oscar nominated, may have won a couple. He won for Best Adapted Screenplay for The Pianist, and he also wrote 2 more recent Broadway shows, well, The Dresser back in 1981, and a pretty good play called Taking Sides, which was done in the 90s. I remember seeing that, featuring Ed Harris and Daniel Massey, all about this American military guy who's come to Germany after the war, shortly after the war, and he's interviewing the conductor Wilhelm Furtwängler and trying to figure out just how much he did or didn't collaborate with the Nazis during the Third Reich years in Germany. That was called Taking Sides. But anyway, it's easy to take the side in favor of the late Ronald Harwood. Definitely it's a loss to the theater community that he passed on Tuesday. But hey, some hopeful or at least progressive-ish news coming to the theater in our last item. I'm letting you know that the 2021 Pulitzer Prizes will happen. They will be given out, even though, again, America and the theater everywhere, it's not just New York, all the regional theaters canceled their spring seasons, their summer seasons, now their fall seasons. What's happening? Well, the Pulitzers are responding by opening the field. Say the co-chairs of the Pulitzers, the spread of COVID has closed theaters, but has in no way dampened the creativity of the nation's playwrights. In this year of all years, we wanted to honor the work that is being done. Shows are going on even if audiences are remote. Therefore, they are opening the candidacy for shows to win the Pulitzer Prize. They can be from productions that were about to go on but were canceled, or even site-specific, like outdoor works or works that are generated specifically for online, like the Zoom shows. Those have a shot at the Pulitzer. So really changing the rules, at least for this year, just to keep theater in people's minds, in their hearts, keep the Pulitzers going. And to that, I certainly say, if I could just get my thing up here, there we go, Ain't Broadway Grand.
It's the famous gay white way, where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand.
Toodaloo, toodaloo.
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway.
So, ladies and gentlemen, having a grand time here on Dave's Gone By, as we do every Saturday morning. One thing that I also want to do, because we have such wonderful guests on the show today, is just this little segment that we do where we honor the people who've been on the program, not just this morning, but all the mornings and way back in the evenings when we used to do Dave's Gone By. We consider folks who've been on the program friends of the Daverhood, and we like to let you know what they've been up to. Yeah! So, here's some news about some friends of the Daverhood. We'll let you know. Wow, that's loud. I can't make that too much lower, can I? Oh well, I'll just stop it then.
You know that Troy's wife works at the PBA.
Well, Troy's wife, Joyce is noting that our guest on the Daverhood today, Troy Coverdale, his wife, what does she do for the
I
performing?
don't know. It doesn't say. It just says she works there.
Oh, wow. Cool. Lucky her. But, or we hope she's lucky. So here's the deal. Tom Paxton and the Don Juans are doing a virtual concert, and that is happening tomorrow. It's a benefit for the Warwick Historical Society. You can watch it and donate at WHSNY.org. WHSNY.org. One of the great honors of my life in doing this program was having Tom Paxton on the show, not once, but twice. One of our major living American songwriters. So yay, go check him out. I want to let you know that, I didn't write it down, but I know Jorma Kaukonen's doing a concert tonight from his Fur Peace Ranch, and you can watch it for free live on YouTube. Jorma Kaukonen, of course, of Hot Tuna and Jefferson Airplane fame. Now, through the end of September, our critic friend Isa Goldberg is appearing in some one-act plays on YouTube being done by the 68 Cent Crew Theater Company. Go find their website, 68 Cent Crew. Now through early November, Richard Nelson's new play, Incidental Moments of the Day. It's a continuation of all these plays he's writing about the Apple family. You can watch that online at the applefamilyplays.com. The applefamilyplays.com. J.O. Sanders featured. So we have two friends of the Daverhood in that show. Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are posting many of their duets every week on their YouTube page because they sing, they're cabaret singers, and they do the American Songbook. Julie Halston has her virtual Halston Fridays on YouTube, and you don't have to watch them live. You can see the reruns too. Julie Halston on YouTube. Evan Seplow is the founder of StageBuddy.com. Dr. Demento has DrDemento.com. Stuart Brown has the 24-hour Broadway music channel, SoundsOfBroadway.com. And Bob Cudmore doing podcasts of upstate New York history at BobCudmore.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. So I mentioned friends of the Daverhood, but now we have some new ones. Okay, today we have a new friend of the Daverhood, Troy Coverdale, who was just a really, really fine guest in the show, talking to Rabbi Saul. Do find out more about him. Coverdale is the name. And Joyce says, if you're in the watch party, she's linked on the site to his website. So do check out his work, check out his reel. And if you give him a job, you can even call him Coverdale. I think he would. It was a good job, with decent pay and sportscasting and broadcasting about a decent team. Or you can call him Smith. What is a 501c3? What? Yeah, even if it's a nonprofit, which doesn't pay that much, if you can get him a good position, you can call him Smith. Troy Coverdale, thank you so much for being in the Daverhood. Thank you also, as I'm going to say as always now, because it's been a few weeks, to my cousins, the Shubs. We've had Stacey Shub and her partner, Shyaporn Theerakulstit, we'll just call him Shy. Great fun playing yesterday quiz with them. Also, got to give it up for Cynthia and Jeff, my other cousins, Cynthia Shub and Jeff Kirsch, for playing along in the yesterday game. And a shout out to, well, not really, if she's just sleeping in. No shout out to Lauren Shub. She can't wake up to do this show. We're not going to give her a shout out, but we will to Rabbi Saul Solomon for being in the Daverhood, for doing the interview today, reminding you his website is Shalom Dammit, daverhood.com, and that his Twitter feed is at Rabbi Sol Solomon. Also going to give a shout out to our other friend, Leslie Hoban Blake, the theater critic who's been playing our game. Oh my God, she's turning into the Ken Jennings of Today Yesterday, but will she keep it going next week? We'll just have to see, and you'll just have to tune in for the 764th episode of Dave's Gone By. It will be Rosh Hashanah, but barring other plans, what else? I'll dip an apple in honey. We'll call it a holiday. So yeah, we'll be here next Saturday, 9 until noon or thereabouts, Eastern Time in the Daverhood. It just remains for me to thank my wonderful and supportive, and because she wasn't feeling well this morning, but she dragged herself out of bed, out of the pit of misery and shame in which I throw her every day. And then she helps me with the sound effects. She helps me with just getting my costumes on. She helps score the Today Yesterday quiz. She takes care of the watch party. She posts things on our website. She's making sure that our feed is working and that we're not freezing and stuff, although I like to keep it nice and cool in here. So thank you. I love you, Joyce, and happy almost New Year to you. I'll certainly wish that to you next week, and wishing that to all of you, my Davidians who tune in. Remember to tell your friends, tell everybody. Dave's Gone By is, the show, davesgoneby.com is the website where all our archives lie, and they tell the truth sometimes as well. Dave's Gone By has a channel on archive.org, so if you search our name, you'll find all our shows there. You'll also find our shows, the audio only, at castbox.fm, if you're listening just for podcasts, and you'll find pretty much all our stuff on YouTube if they haven't blocked it for audio rights reasons. But so many ways to listen. Just, if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed parts of the show, remember you can watch it over again, watch the archives on this Facebook page or at davesgoneby.com, and tell other people about, Troy isn't the only one who's looking for a job in media. I just took a new job. I'm not going to leave it so quick in my day job. But, if there's a radio station out there that needs this, or hey, a TV station that wants to put this face in front of the world once a week or 5 days a week, I'm available. Just hit me up at davesgoneby@aol.com or at my Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. Radio Dave, the number 2. Well, it just remains for me to wish you an early happy Jewish New Year, a very, very early happy autumn, continued good health, let's hope, and enjoy the beautiful weather that, at least in New York, that we're getting. I remember in Colorado, it was like 98 degrees, and then 12 hours later it was snowing. And this was not in Vail or anything. This was in northern Colorado this week. They had a swing of about 60 degrees within a less than 1 day period. That's Colorado for you. That's the kind of weather that we respect here in the Daverhood on this program, which we've been calling Dave's Gone By.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by.
Potato for the win! And Gone By.